The Mets, indeed, are number one. Now let's go to Shea Stadium for the voice of New York Mets baseball, Lindsey Nelson, Ralph Kiner, and Bob Murphy.
All our sponsors are proud to bring you Mets baseball on Sports 1050. Well, hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson, greeting you from Shea Stadium on an absolutely beautiful afternoon. Game 3 of the championship series. Right now, here's one of your favorite Mets.
Hi, I'm Tug McGraw of the New York Mets. This broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of WHN Sora Radio and is authorized under radio rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited.
In today's third game of the best-of-5 championship series for the National League crown, for Cincinnati, left-hander Ross Grimsley, he won 13 during the season. For the New York Mets, left-hander Jerry Koosman, he won 14 during the season. We'll be back to the starting lineups in just 1 minute. Now a word.
Due to the tremendous response and sales on the new 74 Mercuries, John C. Miller has an exceptionally large selection of good used cars. If you're looking for a good, clean automobile, now's the time to buy one. Large or small, they have them all. At John C. Miller, they always take care of you after they sell you. That makes a big difference. Stop in now or the selection is unlimited. And remember, now is the time to see the great new Mercury for 74. Styling, ride, comfort, better yet, take a ride in the new Mercury and see for yourself why people are switching to Mercury. 1974, truly the year of the cat. That's John C. Miller, 513 North Perry Street in Johnstown. Mercury for 74 offers you a lot more.
Color guard approaching, coming through the center field gates for the starting lineups and batting orders. Here is Ralph Kiner.
All right, Bob Murphy, and for the Mets, it'll be Wayne Garrett, the leadoff, who'll be playing third base. Batting second, the second baseman, Felix Meehan. Batting third, playing right field, Rusty Staub. Batting fourth, the left fielder, Cleon Jones. Batting fifth, playing first base, John Milner. Batting sixth, the catcher, Jerry Grody. Batting seventh and playing center field, Don Hahn. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Bud Harrelson, and the pitcher, Jerry Koosman, batting ninth. Mets going with the same lineup that they used in the first two games of the championship season, with the exception of the pitcher. For the Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose will lead off. He'll be in left field. Batting second, the second baseman, Joe Morgan. Batting third and playing first base, Tony Perez. Batting fourth, the catcher, John Bench. Batting fifth, playing right field, Andy Costco. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Ed Armbruster. Batting seventh, playing third base, Dennis Menke. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Darrell Cheney. And the pitcher, Ross Grimsley, batting ninth. Reds making two changes in their starting lineup from the first two games. Switching at third base, putting in the right-hand batter, Dennis Menke, in place of Dreesen, a left-hand batter who started the first two games. Also in center field, Geronimo has been benched, and they are going with the right-hand batter, Ed Armbruster, against the slants of Jerry Koosman. Now here from Shea Stadium, our national anthem, sung by Robert Merrill.
Oh, say, can you see why the dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, those broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched was so gallant
sung by opera star Bob Merrill, who is quite a baseball fan, follows the Mets all around, see him all around the different ballparks. Well, the third game of this championship season, best 3 out of 5 will determine the winner, who will meet the American League champions. Baltimore and Oakland have split their first 2 games, as have the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds. Beautiful conditions here for baseball. It's a beautiful day. We have a light wind blowing in from center field. Field condition is perfect. Outfield is in probably the best shape in quite some time, due to the fact we've had good weather and sunshine. At Cincinnati, in the 2 games played there, a new attendance record set for championship play. A total crowd for the 2 games going up to over 100,000 people. A total crowd actually of 107,472 paid. A single game record set yesterday when they drew 54,041 paid, and here today it looks like we're going to have a capacity crowd. The old record was set here at Shea Stadium when the Mets played the Atlanta Braves. In 1969, they drew 53,195, and here today it's going to be right around that figure with a capacity crowd. Gary Koosman has completed his warm-up pitches for the New York Mets. Ross Grimsley still throwing in the bullpen down the left field side, and now the New York Mets take the field. Umpires are taking their station. 6 umpires for this championship game. Chris Pellicudis will be behind home plate, calling the balls and strikes. Bob Bingle, the umpire at first base. Bruce Froman, the umpire at second base. Gary Dale will be the umpire at third base. Ed Sudol, the left field umpire. And Ed Fargo, the right field umpire. Now Mrs. Charles Payson is going to throw out the first ball for the New York Mets. She, of course, the owner of the New York Mets, and she tosses it to Jerry Grody, and Grody now walking up into the provisional seat set down there and handing the ball back to Mrs. Payson. Mrs. Payson was unable to attend the games in Cincinnati due to illness, but she is out here today. She watched both games, of course, on television, and just before the ball game, Pete Rose and Johnny Bench, and it was their home runs that beat the Mets in the first game 2-1, came over to say hello to Mrs. Payson and pay their respects. 2-1 for the Cincinnati Reds in the first ball game. The winning pitcher was Pedro Bourbon in relief. And in the second ball game, the winning pitcher was John Matlack, as the Mets won it by a score of 5-0. A 2-hit shutout by John Matlack, putting the Mets even in the series at 1 apiece. Tomorrow it will be George Stone on the mound for the New York Mets. Game time will be at 2 o'clock. Stone, with a record of 12 wins and 3 losses, will be opposed by Fred Norman. He has won 13 and lost 13 for both the Cincinnati Reds and the San Diego Padres. It was when Norman was acquired from San Diego that the Cincinnati Reds turned around. They were in third place on July 1st, 13 games back of the first-place Dodgers, and they came on to win it with a record of 99 wins and 63 losses, more wins than any team in baseball this year. Mets ended their season winning on the final day of the season, actually going beyond the regular scheduled season, winning on Monday after the season was officially over. And they defeated the Cubs in that ball game. Tom Seaver, the winning pitcher, with Doug McGraw picking up a save, and the Mets finished with a record of 82 wins and 79 losses. And now it's Pete Rose stepping up to the batter's box. This ball game about to get underway. And for the play-by-play, Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much, and hi, everybody. Pete Rose leading off against Gary Koosman. In the first 2 games of the series, Pete has 1 hit in 8 times at bat. That was a home run in the 8th inning of the first game, and it tied the game 1-1. Jerry Koosman looking around, checking the defense. Pete Rose, hitting right-handed, won the batting title, hit .338. And the first pitch of the day, high outside, ball 1. Joe Morgan on deck, and then Tony Paris. Sparky Anderson making 2 changes in his lineup for the game today. Off the outside corner, a call strike, 1-1. Dennis Menke replaces Dan Dreesen at third. Ed Armbrister will be in center field, replacing Cesar Geronimo, to get more right-handed hitting into the Cincinnati lineup. The 1-1 pitch is low, a fastball, 2-1. The Mets won yesterday 5-0 on a brilliant two-hitter by John Matlack. After the Reds have taken the opener 2-1. Now game 3, the 2-1 delivery. Outside, ball 3-1. Pete Rose now has won the National League batting title 3 times. Now the windup, the 3-1 pitch. And a fly ball over toward the right field line. Staub going over across the line, and it will be in the crowd, no play. 3-2. Staub pinned himself right up against the rail box, but was unable to reach in far enough to make the catch. What a beautiful day in New York. We'll have a capacity crowd at Shea Stadium. Still a few empty seats as the game gets underway. There are still people coming in. Joe Morgan is on deck, and then Tony Paris. In yesterday's game, and I'm sure it happened very few times all season long, Matlack stopped the first 4 men in the batting order. And a line drive to center field, caught by Don Hahn. Rose on 3-2, lines out to Don Hahn. Hahn came straight in and made the catch. 1 out and nobody on. Now here is Joe Morgan. Morgan hitless at 8 times at bat in the series. During the season, batted .290. Hit 26 home runs, had 82 runs batted in, and he stole 67 bases. The Reds led the National League in defense. The Reds led the National League in stolen bases. Guzman getting his sign from Grody. The pitch to Morgan. A pop-up down the first baseline in foul ground. Milner comes over and he's under it. He has it. Morgan an easy out. 2 down, nobody on. And now here is Tony Paris, the slugging first baseman. Over the season, Paris hit .314 at 27 home runs and 101 runs batted in. Ceremonial first ball tossed out today by Mrs. Charles Payson, #1 Mets baseball fan and principal owner. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn is here watching the game, sitting with chairman of the board Don Grant of the New York Mets. The windup by Guzman, the pitch to Tony Paris. A change that is inside. He took something off on the fastball. Guzman changes speeds a great deal. He will change up off both the fastball and the curve. And the pitch. Fastball, a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tony Paris. This year against Cincinnati, Jerry Guzman won 1 and lost none. The victory was a well-pitched 2-1 game. Change up a little bit low. 2 balls and a strike. Jerry's lifetime record against Cincinnati, 4 wins and 5 losses. Against left-handers this year, the Reds won 27. They've now lost 21. And a foul ball. He went after a breaking pitch, just barely nicked it. And the count 2-2. Johnny Bench is the on-deck batter. This is game 3 in the best of 5. Games 4 and 5 scheduled here at Shea. High and away. Ball 3, 3-2. Tomorrow afternoon, George Stone pitches for the New York Mets against the little veteran Fred Norman of the Reds. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Guzman with a fastball fanned Tony Paris. The Reds are out 1-2-3 in the first inning. In the middle of the first, the Reds nothing, the Mets coming to bat.
Bob and Karen Reed at Dairy Queen offer you this Mets baseball special. If you mention WIZR or the #1 New York Mets, they'll be more than happy to give you a super banana split at a regular banana split price. A 20-cent saving from Bob and Karen Reed at the DQ Dairy Queen, Route 38, Johnstown. Remember, Dairy Queen is the number one for happiness for all ages.
The weather may not be what you want it to be, but this is the right time, and Shepherd is the right place for you to pick out the new Pontiac you'll be driving in '74. At Shepherd Pontiac, you'll find many models to choose from, such as the Grand Prix, Granville, Catalina, Le Mans, and many more. You'll find a Pontiac that will fit the needs of you and your family. Shepherd Pontiac on the Hales Mills Road in Gloversville. The dealer on the hill, but always on the level.
Ross Grimsley, 13 wins and 10 losses over the regular season. He pitched brilliantly against New York. He had an ERA over the season of 1.8 against the New York Mets. 1-2 and lost 1. The game he lost to Jerry Koosman 2-1. Wayne Garrett will lead off. Wayne has 1 hit in 9 times at bat in the first 2 games of the series. And the big crowd here at Shea immediately starts to chant, "Let's go Mets." The windup and the pitch by Grimsley, a foul ball, back upstairs, strike 1. Grimsley is primarily a breaking ball pitcher. Whereas Jerry Koosman struck out 156 batters over the season, Grimsley struck out but 90. But he has an excellent breaking ball. Grimsley takes his sign from Johnny Bench, delivers to Garrett, and a grounder foul, no play. Grimsley's lifetime record against New York, he has won 3 and lost 2. And this year he won 2 and lost 1. Born in Topeka, Kansas, he grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. Now makes his home in a small town in Indiana. Tall left-hander, delivers to Garrett inside the letters, 1 ball and 2 strikes. They say of Ross Grimsley that he is completely loose about everything. Pressure does not bother him. Felix Mian on deck, and then Rusty Staub. The 1-2 pitch to Wayne Garrett. Low outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets lost the opener 2-1. They were winning yesterday 1-0 going to the 9th inning. They scored 4 runs to put it away. And Matlack allowed only 2 singles, both collected by the right fielder Andy Costco. The 2-2 pitch, fastball, strike 3 call. Garrett called out. Now setting Cincinnati defensively, Tony Perez playing first, Joe Morgan at second. Darrell Cheney, the shortstop, and the veteran Dennis Menke is playing third. Pete Rose in left. Rookie Ed Armbruster is the center fielder, and Andy Costco is around at right. Armbruster played at Indianapolis in the American Association this year. Was brought up on August the 31st, just in time to be eligible for championship competition. Felix Mian 1 for 7 in the series. Batted .290 over the year and had 185 base hits. And a fly ball in the air to shallow right field. Easy play for Andy Costco. He has it 2 down. This will bring up Rusty Staub. Rusty 1 for 5. That was a home run off Don Gullett in the 4th inning yesterday afternoon at River Prince Stadium. The Mets rode that home run until the 9th inning when they scored 4 more. The left-hander's pitch on the way. Curve outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Later today, Baltimore at Oakland. That series is also even at a game each. The remaining games will be played at Oakland. The World Series will open on Saturday in the American League City. And a high pop foul back out of play. During the World Series, there will be travel days. First 2 games of the series will be Saturday and Sunday, either in Baltimore or Oakland. Monday will be a day off. The 3 games in the National League City will be night games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. 1 ball, 1 strike, Staub waiting. And a swing and a miss and a breaking pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Grimsley has good stuff. Last year in the championship series, the Reds were playing the Pirates. Pittsburgh won 2 of the first 3 games. The 1-2 delivery, just outside, 2-2. So the Reds were somewhat up against it in Game 4. They put Ross Grimsley on the mound. Grimsley, like Matlack yesterday, responded. He pitched a 2-hit shutout. So he can be very tough. The 2-2 pitch. Hit in the air to right center field. It's deep. Back goes the center fielder. Armbruster may go. Gone! A home run! New York on a home run to deep right center field by Rusty Staub. It cleared the wall way over in right center at 396 feet from home plate. The Mets lead 1-0. Staub's second home run in 2 days. Jones takes a breaking ball, strike 1. The Mets leading 1-0. Staub's second home run in 2 days. He hit a 2-2 fastball. And how he did hit it. Leon Jones waiting. Line drive in the air to right, a base hit. Taken on a hop by Costco. Leon is on with a single to right field. Now John Milner. Jones hitting a hard single to right, his second hit of the series. And it brings up John Milner. Milner has 1 hit in 6 times at bat. Milner, the club leader in home runs during the season with 23. Rusty Staub hit 15 during the season. Now has 2 in 2 days, both off left-handers. Breaking ball, a strike to John Milner. Staub's home run yesterday in the 4th inning came off Don Gullett. Fastball, left-hander. Now off to Ross Grimsley. And the pitch on the way to Milner, a swing and a miss. And the count is strike 2. Gary Grody stands for the on-deck circle, working with the Pine Tar Club. Grimsley with a 2-strike advantage, pitching to John Milner. 2 men away, Leon Jones on first base. The infield and the outfield around to right. Look out. Way inside, Milner was flattened. Milner hitting the dirt to get away from an inside fastball. Center fielder Ed Armbruster shades to right center against John Milner. Costco, the right fielder, is deep. The shortstop, Cheney, way over, almost behind second base. They leave the regular shortstop hole open. The pitch. Low outside. Even count 2-2 on John Milner. Beautiful day in New York. Skies of brilliant blue and clear. Temperature about 70. Breeze blowing from left across. Harris holds against the runner of the pitch. Foul ball. Hit hard, but way back up into the crowd. Milner jerked his head up on that, far out in front, pulled it back into the crowd. One run in, last of inning number 1. That's 1, Reds nothing. Staub's home run, one of his longest shots of the season. Now the stretch, the 2-2 delivery, and a pop-up. Foul ball might not be playable. It will go into the crowd behind the dugout. Tony Perez and Johnny Bench both coming over. Neither has a play. If the Mets win the National League crown for the first time in New York baseball history, there will be night World Series games in New York. Now Cleon edging away from first. The throw to first base by Grimsley, not in time. Eddie Yost coaching third and Roy McMillan coaching first. The 2-2 delivery reached for, fouled into the dirt near home plate. With 2 outs and nobody on, and a count 2-2, Rusty Staub hit a fastball beyond the wall in deep right center. It went over the 396 mark. Leon Jones singled to right, and the count is 2-2 on John Milner. Grimsley eyes the runner, Cleon Jones. Cleon has marvelous speed. And the pitch. Swing and a foul tip. Could not be handled by Johnny Bench, and Milner stays alive. Huge crowd at Shea. This is going to be a tremendous championship series, attendance-wise, and also artistically the way it has started out. Crowds of 53,000 plus and 54,000 plus in Cincinnati. Over 50,000 today in New York. Now Grimsley is ready, delivers. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Side retired. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 1, the Mets 1, the Reds nothing. Here's the...
Tanner Lumber and Supply in Port Alban has the largest selection of unfinished furniture in the area. You can choose from hard or soft wood by such famous manufacturers. Sargent and Postley. This furniture is all assembled, ready for you to stain, paint, or antique. And of course, Tanner Lumber has all the materials for you to do the job with. They also have building supplies, tools, and a complete hardware line. Stop in soon at Tanner Lumber, North 2nd Avenue in Port Alban.
Make a richly rewarding investment in your motoring pleasure and get a new 1974 Dodge from Howell & Pearson Incorporated, Dodge City. They have something to please everyone, whether your tastes are stylish, sporty, large, or small. Their selection includes the Challenger, Charger, Dart, Polera, and Monaco. And when you buy from Howell & Pearson Dodge City, you can be sure of great service after the sale. That's Howell & Pearson Incorporated, 224 West Main Street, Johnstown.
In the second inning at Shea Stadium, Johnny Bench will be up against Jerry Kuzman. Over the season, Bench hit .253, but he hit the long ball. 25 home runs, 104 runs batted in. In the series, Bench is 3 for 8. He had the 3 hits in the opening ball game. A single, a double, and a home run. The home run in the last of the 9th inning with 1 out won the ball game for the Big Red Machine. The pitch. An off-speed delivery, low, 1 ball and no strike. You must change speeds constantly against the red hitter. And the pitch on the way. Off-speed, a strike on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Reds have good hitting, and they have the kind of hitters who can really hit the fastball. The 1-1 pitch. Foul tip. Off-speed breaking ball by Jerry Kuzman, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kuzman set up the fastball beautifully when he struck out Tony Perez. He threw all breaking balls until the last one. Pitching 1 and 2. Off speed, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Andy Costco, the right fielder, will be hitting next, and then the rookie center fielder, Ed Armbrister. The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call and changeup. Masterful work by Jerry Kuzman. He got Bench looking on a 2-2 changeup. Andy Costco had the only 2 hits allowed by John Matlack in yesterday's 5-0 win. They were both singles to left field. Changeup, a strike called in the outside corner. Kuzman starting out by throwing off speed to every hitter. Off speed again and a high pop fly to left field. Leon Jones puts the glove up, fighting the sun a little bit. He has it 2 down. 2 outs and nobody on. Now Ed Armbrister He was the last player. He was the throw-in, so to speak, 2 years ago when the Reds and the Astros made the big deal. The trade that sent Lee May to Houston brought Joe Morgan and Jack Billingham, among others, to Cincinnati. He played at Indianapolis this year, and he hit .307. The pitch by Kuzman, a fastball, strike call. Cesar Geronimo played the first 2 games of the series, had 1 for 6. Sparky making 2 changes today to get more right-handed hitting. High and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Armbruster is from Nassau in the Bahamas. 25-year-old outfielder, bats right-handed, hits out of a crouch. Swing and a miss, a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now with the young hitter standing in, Kuzman is going with his fastball. Against the pros, Benson Costco, he threw off-speed deliveries. Kuzman has his sign. The 1-2 pitch. He struck him out. Fastball. 3rd strikeout for Jerry Kuzman. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. In the middle of the 2nd inning, the Mets won and the Reds nothing.
Danny Donuts on Market Street in Amsterdam is rooting for the Mets. If you want fresh-tasting donuts, fresh eggs, or milk, stop at Danny Donuts. Fred Davidson has joined Danny Donuts as their new manager, and you're invited to stop in and try any of his famous Danny Donuts today. Danny Donuts are available in your favorite flavors, so stop in today at Fred Davidson's Danny Donuts, Market Street in Amsterdam. Don't forget, Danny Donuts has coffee and cold cuts, too.
The Busy Corner in Mayfield is a home of customized all-aluminum truck casts that will add beauty and durability to your pickup. They also carry a complete line of snowblowers, Mossberry racing and touring bikes. These bikes come in 3, 5, or 10-speed models and are ready to go at the Busy Corner of 30 in Mayfield. The Busy Corner is a full-service station, too, and open Monday through Friday till 8 p.m., Saturday till 5, and Sunday till 3. That's their number 1 in bacon.
Last of the 2nd. New York leading Cincinnati 1-0. Jerry Grody faces Ross Grimsley. Tomorrow afternoon here at Shea, Fred Norman, who probably made as many contributions to the success of the Big Red Machine as anybody, will be opposed by George Stone, who did a remarkable job, winning 12 and losing only 3. Grody, right-hand hitter, waiting. Takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. Jerry delivered a very big hit in the victory yesterday. In the 9th inning, he singled, driving 2 runs in. It made the score 4-0. The 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Super sensational day in New York. It just could not be better. Mets flew back from Cincinnati, arriving last night at Kennedy around 10:15. Ball 3, a fastball wide, 3-0. In the Cincinnati bullpen, Jack Billingham is just doing some tune-up. If the game goes to the 5th game, it will be a rematch, Don Seaver and Jack Billingham. Ball 4, Grody walks on 4 pitches. Coming to the plate, Don Hahn. Don has 2 hits in 6 times at bat. Don collected both hits in yesterday's ballgame. He had a base hit in the 9th as the Mets scored their 4 runs to put the ballgame away. Ross Grimsley. Now working from the stretch, delivers, and a curve, swung and missed. Grimsley is 6'3", weighs 195 pounds. Tony Perez holding against Jerry Grody at first. Nobody out. We're in the last half of the 2nd. The infield is straight away. Hahn takes the fastball low outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Menke playing even with the bag, wide of the line at 3rd. Joe Morgan and Darrell Cheney are straight away and in a stride, looking for the chance to make a double play. Armbruster, the center fielder, a couple of strides to right center, and a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hahn chased a fastball that was out of the strike zone. Buddy Harrelson is the on-deck batter. Then Jerry Kuzman. The 1-2 delivery. Way outside, he had him tempted. But Hahn checked up on his swing just in time. That pitch was almost identical with the last one that Hahn went after. Johnny Bench provides the target. The 2-2 pitch. Line drive, base hit to right field. Brody will go to second base and stop. The ball thrown in by Costco. The Mets now have 2 men on. John Hahn, a line single into right field. His third hit in the championship series. Now Bud Harrelson. Had a problem here for manager Yogi Berra. If he has Buddy Harrelson bunt, it means the pitcher would be coming up. He might very well let him swing away. We will now get warm-up action in the Cincinnati bullpen. And left-hander Tom Hall will start to warm up. Buddy Harrelson, 1 hit and 6 times at bat. He singled in a run in the 9th inning yesterday. Now the Reds must play in case of a bunt. With Kuzman on deck, he may or may not be bunting. We'll know in a moment. Here's the pitch on the way. He was going to swing away, and it's outside and low, ball 1. During the season, Buddy had 4 hits and 9 times at bat off Ross Grimsley. Well hit fly ball down the left field line. It might go foul. It's right down the line and foul. A foul ball deep in the left field corner. That ball traveled in fair territory at least 90% of the distance. Finally turned foul just at the last moment and landed in the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Harrelson running it out. Now is back in the batter spot. Brody on second and Hahn on first. Nobody out. Last of the second. And the pitch. Curve, a strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jerry Kuzman is on deck. Then leadoff batter Wayne Garrett. The Mets lead 1-0 on a Rusty Staub home run in the first inning. Buddy Harrelson crouches slightly, the pitch. Line drive in the air to right field. Costco will make the catch. The runners hold at first and second. Ball hit hard by Buddy, but right to Costco, the right fielder. 1 man away, the runners holding, and here's Jerry Kuzman coming up. Now the Reds at first and third will be looking for the sacrifice. Kuzman over the year had 8 hits and 78 times at bat. But in the spot, they figure he will be trying to lay the ball down. Wayne Garrett waiting on deck. The pitch. He turns to bunt, and it's outside, 1 ball and no strike. In the Cincinnati pen, left-hander Tom Hall is warming up. He was treated roughly by the Mets in the 9th inning yesterday. The 1-0 delivery. Bunted, fair ball. Back toward the mound. Grimsley falls down. Can't make a play. The base is loaded. The base was loaded with 1 out, and Wayne Garrett coming to bat. Kuzman bunted beautifully. He had some backspin on the ball. Grimsley came down off the mound, charged in, and as he picked it up, he dug a divot. His feet went out from under him. He landed on the seat of his pants. fell back on his back. By the time he could straighten up, he knew there was no point in throwing. Make that a base hit. We'll wait for the official scoring. Bases loaded. Wayne Garrett is the batter. The big crowd roaring now, Shea. The windup by Grimsley, the pitch. Too high, ball one. Lead runner on third is Grody. Hahn on second and Guzman on first, one out. Garrett was struck out in the first inning. Wayne, one hit and 10 times at bat in the series. Guzman will get a base hit on the bunt. Now the windup, the pitch to Garrett. Too high, ball two. Sparky Anderson calls timeout. The skipper of Cincinnati will go to the mound. Grimsley going behind on Garrett. 2 balls and no strikes. He has no place to put him. A walk would force in Jerry Grody. Johnny Bench and Sparky Anderson are at the mound now, talking with Ross Grimsley, trying to settle him down as he goes behind. 2 balls and no strikes. Cincinnati playing the infield at double play depth. Menke, even with the bag wide of the line. The 2-0 delivery. Foul straight back, 2-1. Yogi Berra gave Garrett the green light to try and hit the 2-0 delivery, figuring Grimsley would be trying hard to throw a strike. The ball was fouled off. Garrett, who can pull the ball, being played around to right by the outfield. The 2-1 pitch. Foul back, strike 2. It's 2-2. On Wayne Garrett. Grimsley again getting his sign from Johnny Bench. The runner's edge away. Here's the pitch. Foul ball. Came off the bat, slid into the ground right at the plate. Count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Wayne Garrett. Grody led off with a walk. Hahn on 2-2, single to right. Harrelson hit the ball hard but lined out to right. Guzman bunted to load him up. He beat out the bunt when Grimsley lost his footing. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball hit the center field. It will score a run. It's fairly deep. Armbruster getting under it, makes the catch. Bagged up is Grody coming down the line. The throw is going to third, and the throw gets loose. A run is in. The Mets lead 2-0. Throw from Armbruster went through the third baseman Menke and was backed up by Grimsley. The Mets lead 2-0. That was one of those unusual plays. Grody was coming down the line. Armbruster threw to third, trying to get Hahn. Had the throw been handled, it might have been very close. And had Hahn been out before Grody crossed the plate, the run would not have counted. An RBI for Wayne Garrett on the sacrifice fly. Runners at first and third, and Felix Mian is the batter. High and away. Felix 0 for 1, fly to right, his first time up. The pitch by Grimsley. Hit of the air, foul down the right field line, over into the crowd. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's leading 2-0. Mian choking way up on the handle of the bat. In comes the pitch, too high. Fastball by Grimsley, 2 balls and 1 strike. Don Hahn on third and Jerry Guzman on first with 2 men away. swinging home. Down high, we will get a new pitcher. The starting pitcher, Ross Grimsley, will leave the game. Tom Hall, a hard-throwing, very slender left-hander, will come in. Grimsley has been KO'd. He leaves the game after 1 2/3 innings. He has permitted 3 runs but allowed 5 hits. He walked 1, a costly walk. It was to Grody. He now has scored. He struck out 2. And Tom Hall comes in the ballgame. Tom Hall has now relieved in each of the first 3 games of the championship series. He relieved in the opening game, walked Rusty Staub, went behind Milner, and was replaced by Pedro Borbon, who then got the side out. And yesterday, he started the 9th inning and was charged with 4 runs. He retired Wayne Garrett, but beyond singled, Staub walked, Jones singled, and Milner drew a walk of the intentional variety. So yesterday, in 1/3 of an inning, Tom Hall was charged with 4 runs and 2 hits. So he has not been sharp so far in the series, but over the regular season, Tom Hall was an outstanding relief pitcher with the Cincinnati Reds. Rusty Staub will be the first batter up against the hard-throwing lefty, Tom Hall. During the regular season, he won 8 and lost 5 and had 8 saves to his credit. He worked 103 innings, allowing only 74 base hits, a very good ratio. Last season, as a relief pitcher, he came very close to leading the Cincinnati staff in strikeouts. Now we are ready to resume. There are so many "We Believe" banners around Shea Stadium now. It has become the battle cry of the New York Mets. It was first uttered by Doug McGraw when he said, "You gotta believe." Rusty Staub waiting a swing and a missed strike 1. Rusty gave New York the lead in the first inning with a very long home run. He went over the 396 mark in distant right center field. His second home run in 2 days, both against left-hand pitching. Mets now lead 3-0. We're in the last of the second. And a well-hit fly to deep right by Rusty Staub. Way back, it may go. It's gone, a home run. New York. Rusty Staub hitting a mountain of a home run to right field. On the downward flight, it hit against the auxiliary scoreboard, not far from the foul pole. In his last 5 times at bat of the championship series, Rusty Staub has hit 3 home runs, all 3 against left-handers. Leon Jones takes inside, ball 1. In his last 5 at-bats, 3 home runs, all 3 off left-hand pitching. High to Cleon, 2 balls and no strikes. Mets now leading 6-0. 5 of the 6 runs charged to Ross Grimsley. The 2-0 delivery. Fastball wide, ball 3-0. New York, 6 runs on 6 hits. Rusty Staub has driven in 4 of the 6 runs. And a fastball on the outside corner, 3-1 to Cleon Jones. That scored 1 run in the first inning after 2 were out. And a swing and a miss at a curveball, 3-2. They scored their second run in this inning as the second out was being made on a sacrifice fly. 3 more have come in with 2 men down. Clutch hitting. 3-2 delivery. And a foul back up into the crowd, no play. The Mets 6 and the Cincinnati Reds nothing in the second inning. Now Tom Hall winds the 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. He missed high outside. And the inning continues as Jones goes to first base. Milner is the 9th man to bat of the inning. Brody opened the inning with a walk. Dave Tomlin, a left-hander, now warming up in the Cincinnati bullpen. Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss and a fastball. The Mets have now scored 10 runs in their last 3 innings against Cincinnati. Here's the pitch on the way. Curve on the corner. Strike 2 to John Milner. Tom Hall was charged with 4 runs yesterday. He has been charged with 1 here today, but when Staub hit the home run, 2 men were on. The 2-strike delivery and a high foul pop-up going out of play into the crowd down the right field line. Last year, the Reds were down 2-1 in the championship series with the Pirates. They rallied to win. Grimsley in Game 4 hurled a 2-hitter. Last year, however, when they fell behind, they had the opportunity of playing at home to pull it out. 1 ball, 2 strikes on John Milner. Dave Tomlin, a young left-hander, is up now in the Cincinnati bullpen. Tony Perez holding against Cleon Jones. Curve outside, 2-2. Hall has not been sharp with his control so far in this championship series. Statistician Art Friedman quickly figures out he has an ERA in this series against New York of 175 runs a game. Swing and a foul tip. That's a lot of runs, Art. Officially, he has worked only 1 inning. And has now given up 5 runs. 1/3. And a swing and a foul back against the screen. Count remains 2-2 on John Milner, the 9th man up in the inning. 5 runs have scored on 4 hits. The big one, a 3-run homer by Rusty Staub, his 2nd home run in 2 innings. Milner waiting, the 2-2. Swung and missed, strike 3, and the side retired. But a huge inning for New York, 5 runs. 4 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 2, the New York Mets 6 and the Cincinnati Reds nothing on the road.
The Mets are number 1 in baseball, but when it comes to sandwiches, you can't beat Milt Shaver's Delicatessen and Restaurant, 122 East Fulton Street in Gloversville. At Milt Shaver's, you'll have a sandwich that can't be beat. You can choose from the largest selection of imported and domestic beers anywhere. And the cheesecake for dessert, along with the personalized service, are incomparable. The meat truly outweighs the bread in any sandwich at Milt Shaver's. And don't forget, when you go to Milt Shaver's, you'll be satisfied because the sandwich is surely a complete meal. That's Milt Shaver's Delicatessen and Restaurant, 122 East Fulton Street, Gloversville.
Richly rewarding investment in your motoring pleasure and get a new 74 Dodge from Howell & Pearson Incorporated, Dodge City. They have something to please everyone, whether your tastes are stylish, sporty, large, or small. Their selection includes the Challenger, Charger, Dart, Polara, and Monaco. And when you buy from Howell & Pearson, you can be sure of great service after you purchase your new car. That's Howell & Pearson Incorporated, 224 West Main Street in Johnstown.
Okay, the Mets lead the Reds 6-0. They have shocked the Big Red Machine to this point in the ball game. But the Reds have the kind of bats you cannot get complacent with. And as we go to the third to pick up the action, Ralph Kiner.
Well, the Reds noted for their vaunted power, but the Mets so far in this series have run the Mets by 11-2. Mets have scored 11 runs to the Reds 2, but it's still not over. The Reds are very strong batting ball club. Dennis Menke to lead off. First game he has started, the Mets saw him one time. He was up once and did not get a base hit. Was struck out, as a matter of fact, by John Matlack. And the first pitch by Kuzman after a long wait is high for a ball. Reds will go to a pinch hitter for the pitcher, who is the third batter in this inning. Here's the pitch back to the plate. It's swung on and fouled back into the stands. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dennis Menke to lead off for the Reds in the third, followed by Gerald Cheney, the shortstop, and then the pitcher is scheduled up. But action going in the bullpen as Tomlin throws out there in preparation for a pinch hitter. 1-1 the count. The pitch back by Kuzman. High curveball that's outside. It's 2 balls and a strike. Kuzman struck out 3 in the first 2 innings, getting Perez, Bench, and Armbruster. 2-1 pitch is inside a ball. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. Kuzman had a full count on P. Rose, got him to line out to center field in the first, had a full count on Tony Perez in the first, struck him out with the fastball. Now 3-1 to Dennis Menke. Pitch back is hit out to deep left field. It's going to be gone. It is gone. Goodbye. So the Reds are on the scoreboard as Menke homers. It's now a 6-1 ball game. Menke sitting on the fastball with a 3-1 count and hitting the cripple out of the ballpark. In the regular season, Menke had 3 home runs, batted at .191. So now the Mets with a 5-run lead, and Darrell Cheney coming up. He's 0 for 2 in the series. All 3 of the runs scored by the Reds in this series have been on home runs. 1 by Rose, 1 by Bench, and now 1 by Menke. Here's the pitch back by Kuzman. It's inside and high a ball. And the left-hander into the windup. The 1-0 pitch, a called strike, 1-1. Cheney batted .181 in the season with 14 runs batted in, 1 extra base hit. It was a double. Now Kuzma misses low. 2 balls, 1 strike. And a 2-1. Kuzman back to the plate. It's swung on a miss. That time Kuzman with a fastball over the inside part of the plate. Larry Stahl is in the on-deck circle for the Reds as a possible pinch hitter. And a 2-2. Kuzman to the plate. The pitch is swung on and fouled back against the screen. So the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kuzman had an earned run average this year of 2.84. Third best on the Mets. Seaver led all National League pitchers at 2.08. In between, George Stone, the starting pitcher tomorrow. There's a swing and a foul ball. So the count again stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last year when Kuzman won 11 and lost 12, he had an earned run average of 4.14. Now again, the 2-2 pitch. And it's hit out into shallow right center. Moving back as Felix Miani makes the call, and he makes the cut. One away, it brings up Larry Stahl, a pinch hitter. Stahl was a pinch hitter against Tom Seaver in the first ball game and was struck out. Stahl, a former New York Met, Batted .225 for the season for the Reds, with 2 home runs and 12 runs batted in. And the first pitch is called a ball. His 2 home runs were hit off Met pitching, one off Hank Webb and one off Tom Seaver in the regular season. Stahl, a left-hand batter. Kuzman's next delivery swung on and fouled back, and the count 1-1. On deck batter, Pete Rose. Shadows have moved across in front of home plate now. Here's the pitch to Stahl. It is taken low. 2-1 the count. As those shadows move out, it will make it more difficult for the hitters. Now Kuzman into the windup. The 2-1 delivery. Swung on and missed. 2-2. Kuzman in the regular season gave up 18 home runs in 263 innings and 35 starts. And a 2-2. The pitch to Stahl. It is grounded foul. In the press release book, Stahl is credited with a 500-foot home run while playing for Kansas City. That's a lot of yards. Now again, Kuzman with his 2-2 delivery. And it's a curveball, change curve. It is just inside. Stahl full completely, and Kuzman thought he had a strike, so did Grody. But it was called a ball, and it's now a full count at 3-2. And the 3-2 pitch. Stahl bloops it into center field, coming up as on. He can't get to it. It dropped in for a base hit. He broke his back. So Stahl is on. 1 man out. The Mets leading 6-1, and Pete Rose coming up. We pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WIZR, FM and AM, Johnstown, New York.
From Shea Stadium. The Mets leading 6-1. Pete Rose, the batter, with the runner on. And Kuzman's first pitch. Rose moves out the bunt and bunts the ball foul. Rose trying to get on. One of the big sluggers behind him. Joe Morgan, who had 26 home runs in the season. Tony Perez, who had 27. And Johnny Bench, who had 25. The batter's batting behind Rose. There's a ground ball in the hole. It's a base hit to left field. Stahl moves to second base and holds there, and the Reds now have runners at first and second with 1 man out. And now quickly the bullpen phone rings for the Mets. We're going to have action out there. Joe Morgan coming up. Morgan fouled out to first his first time up on 1 pitch. Batted .290 for the season with 26 home runs, 82 runs batted in. Harry Parker is now getting ready to throw in the bullpen for the Mets. The first pitch to Morgan, a sidearm fastball. It's over, a called strike. Morgan, a tough man to double up. Has that tremendous speed. Kuzman reading the signs from Jerry Grody. Now he goes to the set position, and his 1-strike delivery. It is just outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's getting a run in the first and a home run by Staub. 5 in the second, a 3-run home run by Staub contributed in. Now a swing of the fastball. It's fouled back in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Reds trying to bounce back, get back in this ball game. Kuzman has the sign, goes to the set position. The 1-2 pitch. Morgan hits it hard to right, a base hit. Stahl goes to third base, and Rusty Staub comes up with it. Stahl comes in to score, and Staub holds the runner at second. So Rose now at second. Morgan with his first hit of the series. He was 0 for 9 before the base hit. And Tony Perez coming up, and it's Scary-type situation for the New York Mets, and Rube Walker, the pitching coach, is going out to the mound. Mets leading 6-2. Reds with runners at first and second, one man out. Rube Walker talking with Jerry Kuzman. Now Walker going back to the bench as Harry Parker throws from the bullpen for the Mets, the right-hander. Tony Perez, the batter. He was struck out on a 3-2 fastball his first time up. Had 27 home runs in the regular season, drove in 101 runs, batted .314. Perez, the right-hand batter, and Kuzman's first pitch. Fastball over the inside corner, a called strike. Perez did not like the call by Chris Balakutis, the home plate umpire. Now Kuzman again set. And a one-strike delivery. Fastball again inside, but this one off the plate. It's called a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. Kuzman back again. Perez hits it out to center field, moving over to Hahn. He is there, and he makes a good running catch. Rose tags up at second, moves over to third after the catch, but the Mets get the second out of the inning. Good running play by Hahn in center field, taking that ball out in right center field. And now Johnny Bench coming up with runners at first and third and 2 men out. Bench was struck out his first time up. He got caught looking at a changed curveball. Bench hitting .253 for the season, had 25 home runs, 104 runs batted in. Harrelson playing deep in the hole, the shortstop. Meehan shaded over toward second base, and Kuzman ready. Here's the pitch to Bench. Change up curveball, a swing and a miss, strike 1. Bench with a vicious swing, but the curveball with the off speed. Upsetting his timing. Now Kuzman reads the signs from Jerry Grody. Looks over at third. Goes to the set position. Checks at first base. And a throw to first base. Morgan back. Morgan with 67 stolen bases in the season. The runner at first. Now Kuzman again sets. Here's the pitch. And Bench hits it hard at the shortstop, Harrelson. He makes a one-hop grab, throws to Meehan, and the inning is over. Harry Kuzman getting out of the inning with only 2 runs scored on 4 base hits. 2 men left in the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Mets 6, the Reds 2. Now a word from Air Jamaica.
Don't trade in that banged-up buggy that you have just because it's a few dents and scratches. Let the experts at Bob's Body Shop, extension of South 2nd Avenue, Broadalbin, fix those bumps and bruises for you. They've got 12 years' experience backing them, and they know what they're doing. They'll even give you free appraisal of the work done. So if your car needs a facelift, put it in the qualified hands of Bob's Body Shop, Broadalbin, or call 883-5490 anytime.
While you're shopping in downtown Gloversville, take a break and stop in at B&D Luncheonette, conveniently located on North Main Street. Enjoy a delicious sandwich, refreshing beverage, and great service. When you're done eating, you'll be ready for the great sales in downtown Gloversville. That's B&D Luncheonette on North Main Street in Gloversville.
Dave Tomlin, a left-hander, the new pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. Tomlin has an earned run average of 4.82 for the season. He won 1 and lost 2. He was in 16 ball games, all in relief. Tomlin worked 27 innings, gave up 24 hits, allowed 15 earned runs, walked 15, struck out 20. He appeared against the Mets twice. First time on July 13th, he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 3 hits and 1 run. And also on August 18th, he worked 2 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, allowed 2 runs. Tomlin was with the Reds twice. He was recalled from Indianapolis June 15th and then optioned out to Indianapolis on July 20th. Recall later on August the 10th. Then the left-hander's first pitch to Jerry Grody is outside the ball. Grody walked on 4 pitches in the second to start a 5-run rally. And Tomlin into the windup. The 1-0 pitch to Grody, line to center field. It's a base hit. Ball fielded on 1 hop by the center fielder, Ed Armbruster. And the Mets have their 7th base hit in the ball game. Grody on and Don Hahn coming up. Don Hahn singled to right field behind Grody's walk in the second to keep the rally going. He's had 3 hits and 7 times up in the series. Mets leading 6-2. Shadow has extended out to about halfway between the pitcher's mound and home plate. The first pitch by Tomlin, taken low, a ball. Tomlin, a tall, skinny, appearing left-hander, has a lot of motion in his throwing. Reads the sign, sets up. And the big kick and pitch to the plate. Hahn takes it at the knees. A called strike. It's 1-1. It is raining in Oakland, where Baltimore is scheduled to play the 3rd game of their series. They split the first 2. Next pitch to Hahn, a curveball. It's low. It's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Two and 1 the count. Tomlin sets up and throws to first base. Grody back easily. Grody again off. Not too big a lead. Tomlin sets. And the pitch, Grody running. It's grounded out to shortstop. No play at second. Fielded there by the shortstop, Caney, to throw to first base in time for the out. But on the hit and run play, the Mets get a runner in scoring position. So a runner at second base with 1 away and Bud Harrelson coming up. Bud lined out to right field his first time up. So far in the series, he's 1 for 7. Finished the season hitting safely in 14 of his last 16 ball games. Ended up at .258 for the year. On deck batter, the pitcher, Jerry Kuzman. And the first pitch to Harrelson, taken low and inside. In fact, it bounces in the dirt. It's blocked by Bench, and Grody has to hold at second. Good play by Bench. Blocking the ball out in front of home plate, where he scrambled to it in a hurry and held Grody at second. One ball and no strikes to count. And Tomlin's next pitch to Harrelson. It's foul on the first base side, into the stands, out of play. 1-1 the count. Bud, in his first batting appearance in today's ball game, drove one deep down the left field side. That was long enough to be extra bases, but just foul. 1-1 pitch to Harrelson, way outside. The fastball missing high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Harrelson in this spot could not get much to hit. Two and 1. And the pitch back by Tomlin is outside again. The count 3 balls and 1 strike. Dennis Menke, the third baseman in today's game, comes over to say something to Dave Tomlin. Now goes back to his position. Grody, the runner at second base. 1 man out. 3-1 count to Harrelson. Here's the pitch. Harrelson hits it foul down the left field side, out of play. So the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Mets leading 6-2. Got a run in the first on a home run by Rusty Staub. Got 5 in the second, 3 of them on Staub's second home run. Reds got 2 back in the third. Now the 3-2 pitch. It is popped up into left center field. A long run for Armbruster, but he is there. He gets under the ball and makes the catch, and Grody halfway hustles back to second. 2 men away, it brings up Gary Kuzman. Gary had a bunt base hit his first time up in the sacrifice situation. He bunted the ball so well that Ross Grimsley, the starting pitcher who was pitching at the time, fell down trying to field the ball. And Tomlin's first pitch to Kuzman. It is high a ball. Kuzman drove in 3 runs in the regular season with 8 base hits. He had 1 extra base hit, a double. The 1-0 pitch. Kuzman takes it outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Kuzman batting right-handed. Of course, he's a left-handed thrower. 2-0 delivery. Kuzman takes it. It's a called strike. 2-1. That pitch was a borderline pitch. Just catching the strike zone. Tomlin sets up, checks Grody at second. Comes back to Kuzman. Kuzman lines it to right center, a base hit. The Mets will score. Grody comes in to score. The ball going up the alley, fielded by Costco in right center field, and the Mets lead 7-2 on a base hit by Gary Kuzman. Gary Kuzman, with 3 runs batted in the regular season, now has become the second Met pitcher to drive in a run. Seaver drove in 1 in the first game. And Kuzman is on first base with Wayne Garrett coming up. Garrett drove in a run in the second with a sacrifice fly. Was struck out in the first. He's 0 for 1, and he takes the first pitch at the knees, a called strike. Tomlin sets up, and the pitch back to Garrett. Swung on and fouled, back out of play. It's strike 2. And Dave Tomlin, the left-hander, sets again. The 2-strike delivery. Garrett pops it up back of home plate. Coming back is Bench. He might have room. He is back, but he can't get to it as it goes on top of the screen out of play. So the count holds at strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Again, Tomlin sets up with a 2-strike pitch. The pitch to Garrett is low, and it's 1-2. Again, Tomlin ready, and the 1-2 pitch to Garrett. In the dirt, dug out by Bench. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Next delivery to Garrett. It's swung on and missed, and Garrett is struck out of the side, retired. But the Mets get a run on 2 hits. 1 by Jerry Kuzman, 1 man left. And the score at the end of 3, the Mets 7, the Reds 2.
Drop everything. The Singer Sale-a-thon is on now. Stop in at the Singer Sewing Center, 36 North Main Street in Gloversville, and save a bundle. Right now, you can save $90 off the regular price of the luxury touch and sew sewing machine with cabinet. This machine gives you professional results and has 14 built-in stitches, including speed basting. And for the economy-minded, see the Singer Model 177 for only $66. Get in on the Sale-a-thon at Singer's, 36 North Main Street in Gloversville.
Whether you're looking for a car that's stylish, sporty, large, or small, you can make a richly rewarding investment in your motoring pleasure by getting a 1974 Dodge from Howell & Pearson Incorporated, 224 West Main Street in Johnstown. And at Howell & Pearson, you can be sure of the great service after the sale of your new car. That's Howell & Pearson Incorporated, 224 West Main Street in Johnstown.
We're going to the top of the fourth inning. The Mets leading 7-2. The Reds coming up, and their leadoff batter will be the right fielder, Andy Costco. Mets have 7 runs on 8 base hits. They've made no errors. The Reds have 2 runs on 4 hits, and they've made no errors. Costco batting for the second time. His first time up, he flied out to left. Costco, a right-hand batter, plays against left-hand pitchers. Got the only 2 hits given up by Matlack in yesterday's victory for the Mets, 5-0. And the first pitch by Kuzman, a fastball high, a ball. In the regular season, Costco batted .280 with 9 home runs, 21 runs batted in. 1-0 pitch. Curveball, it's inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Kuzman had perfect control in the first 2 innings and then started to get behind batters. On a 3-1 pitch, Menke homered for the first run for the Reds. Here's the 2-0 pitch, swung on and missed. A vicious swing, it's 2-1. On a 3-2 pitch, Larry Stahl, a pinch hitter, broke his bat and got a base hit to center field. Pete Rose singled to left. And then Joe Morgan singled to right to drive in the Reds' second run. That made it a 6-2 ball game after the Mets had scored a run in the first and 5 in the second. Mets got 1 run back in the bottom half of the third, driven in by Jerry Kuzman. 2 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Curveball over, called strike. So the count at 2-2. Now Kuzman ready into the windup. The 2-2 pitch, a let up. It's fouled back into the stand. So the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the 2-2 pitch, a curveball, swung on and missed. Ball was dropped by Jerry Grody, but he picked it up and tagged Costco as he was walking back toward the bench. So officially, it's a strikeout put out to Grody. That is Kuzman's 4th strikeout, and with 1 away here in the 4th inning, the center fielder coming up for the second time, Ed Armbruster. He was struck out his first time up. Kuzman got him with Smoke. Comes back with Smoke, gets a strike. And the left-hander back, and the pitch inside, 1-1. Armbruster batted .216 for the Reds. He was brought up from Indianapolis, where he was hitting .308. 1-1 pitch, fastball over the inside corner, called strike 2, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch. Swung on and fouled back into the stands. The count holds at 1-2. We have just heard that the Oakland-Baltimore game has been rained out today at Oakland. Each team winning 1 ball game of the 2 plays. Here again, the 1-2 pitch, and it is outside and high. 2-2. Now Kuzman with his 2-2 delivery, and he misses inside just off the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. And Kuzman's pitch. It is swung on and fouled back into the stand. The first 2 games of the series, Cesar Geronimo played center field. He had 2 hits in and 6 times up. There's a swing of the fastball, a foul tip off of Brody's glove, and the count again stays at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Three and 2. Again, the pitch by Kuzman. It's lined to left field, a base hit. Brewster, he runs at first base and holds there. And the Reds now have their 5th hit in the ball game. A runner on, and a batter coming up is Dennis Menke. He homered his first time up. Menke had 3 home runs in the regular season. Started his first game of the series here today and homered over the left field fence on a 3-1 fastball. Menke batted .191 in the regular season. He replaced Dan Dreesen at third base. So to first base. And the play not close there. Armbruster back with no trouble. Pedro Bourbon is warming up in the bullpen for the Reds as they work down to their pitcher in the batting order. Change up, it's swung on and foul. A 1-strike count. Now again, Kuzman from the set position, a 1-strike pitch. Over the outside corner, a fastball for a called strike 2. Shadow's now about 50 feet out toward the pitching mound from home plate. 2-strike pitch. Swung on and missed, and Menke fooled completely with a curveball that was out of the strike zone. 5th strikeout by Jerry Kuzman. 2 men away, it brings up the shortstop, Darrell Tenney. Tom Seaver struck out 13 Reds in the first game. John Matlack struck out 9. Kuzma now with his 5th. Tenney, a left-hand batter, popped up to second base his first time up. And Kuzman working from the set position. His first pitch, it is taken high. Ball 1 on the pitch. Kenny faked a bunt. Kuzman again to the set position. The 1-0 pitch. Taken low. 2 balls, no strikes. The on-deck batter is the pitcher. But if Kenny would get on, they'd go to a pinch hitter. 2-0 the count. And the next pitch, and it's in for a called strike. Kenny was out in bunting position, taking all the way. 2-1. And Kuzman's 2-1 pitch, it is grounded foul. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kenny replaced Dave Concepcion at shortstop, and he broke his leg. 2-2 delivery. Popped up. Coming in near the pitcher's mound is Bud Harrelson. He is under the ball, and he makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit. A man left at first, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings, the Mets 7, the Reds 2.
WIZR.
The center will be Felix Meehan. He singled in a run in the second. That's not Ross Grimsley, the starting pitcher, out of the box after 1 2/3 innings. He was charged with 5 runs on 5 hits. He struck out 2 and walked 1. Tom Hall came in and worked 1/3 of an inning. He gave up 1 hit, a 3-run home run by Rusty Stott. He was charged with 1 run. He struck out 1 and walked 1. And Dave Tomlin, still working in the ball game as the 3rd Red pitcher. The first pitch, a strike. Tomlin gave up 1 run and 2 hits in his 1 inning of work in the 3rd. Left-hander back, and the pitch is over the outside corner. Strike 2. Two-strike count to Felix Meehan, and the pitch back. It is swung on and grounded foul, so the count holds at strike 2. Meehan has had 2 hits And 9 times up in this series, he started the 4-1 rally in the 9th inning that saw the Mets win 5-0 yesterday. Single to right. Here's the 2-strike pitch. This one is outside, 1-2. It'll be Felix Meehan, Rusty Staub, who has hit 2 home runs, and Cleon Jones. Next pitch is fouled back into the stands. The count holds at 1 ball and 2 strikes. And again, the 1-2 pitch. Meehan takes it inside, 2-2. Pitch an off-speed pitch. And the 2-2 delivery, it is a fastball high and away. So Meehan, after having the 2-strike count, has worked the count full. Three and 2. Here's the pitch. Meehan walks. Pitch high and outside, and Meehan is on with no one out and Rusty Staub coming up. Rusty Staub gets a standing ovation from this near-capacity crowd for his 2 home runs his first 2 times up. He has driven in 4 runs and a standing ovation for Rusty Staub. Now Tomlin with his first delivery, and Staub is almost hit by a fastball that spins him around. With the count of 2 strikes and no balls and Milner up his first time up, Milner was decked. Now Staub in the first pitch is spun around with a fastball. It's ball 1. Tomlin sets up, and his pitch does not come off as he throws over to first base. Meehan back safely. Staub homered off Grimsley to put the Mets in front 1-0. Hit a 3-run home run off Tom Hall. Now the pitch to Staub, a fastball over the inside corner, a called strike. It's 1-1. And the left-hander sets up. His pitch to the plate is swung on and missed. Fastball missed by Staub. It's 1-2. Regular season, Staub had 15 home runs, led the club in runs batted in with 76, batted 279, but he finished strongly, getting at least a base hit in his last 15 ball games. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Staub punches it out to right field, a fly ball. As he goes for a curve ball, Costco moves up and makes the catch. That'll bring up Cleon Jones. Cleon singled to right in the first, walked in the second. Mets leading 7-2. 1 man out. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jones sets himself up in the batter's box, and now Tomlin gets ready to go. His first pitch. It is taken low. 1 ball, no strike. Beyond the runner at first base, a short lead there. And Tomlin's pitch back to Jones is taken over at the knees. A breaking ball, it's 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. And the pitch. Jones hits it down the right field line. It'll be extra bases. Meehan on his way to second. The ball bounces into the corner. Meehan is being waved in. The throw is a bad throw. The throw gets away from the relay man, and Meehan scores. Leon Jones with a double. that drives in Neon. The Mets lead 8-2. An error is being charged to the right fielder. He missed the cutoff man. So no run batted in for Cleon Jones, although I doubt if they had cut the ball off, if the throw had been perfect, they could have got Neon coming around to score. The throw was to second base, and it missed both the second baseman Morgan and the shortstop Darrell Cheney. And that brings up John Milner, who has struck out twice. First pitch to Milner, a curveball low, it's ball one. That error by Andy Costco, the first error in this series. Pitch back to Milner, a ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Roger Nelson, the right-hander, is now throwing in the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds. And the pitch to Milner, late swing and a foul, and it's 2-1. Now swinging very late at a curveball. So they count 2 balls, 1 strike. And out coming to the mound area as time is called is the pitching coach, Larry Shepard of the Cincinnati Reds. Roger Nelson, who was added entry to the regular roster when Bobby Tolan was suspended by the Cincinnati Reds, is throwing in the bullpen. Mets have had 8 runs on 9 base hits. They have scored 2 against Tomlin. He has given up 3 hits and working 1 1/3 innings. Larry Shepard has left the mound area, going back to the bench. And play will be resumed. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Now the pitch to Milner. Line to right field, a base hit. Jones on his way to third. He'll score. Costco throws it in to Perez, the cutoff man, and the Mets lead 9-2. Leading by a score of 9-2 as Milner gets a run batted in. And the batter coming up is Jerry Grody. Tomlin has now pitched to 9 batters, given up 3 runs, allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 1 and walked 1. His first batter was Jerry Grody, and Grody singled to center field. The first pitch. Grody hits it hard, foul down the third base side. A 1-strike count. Grody has walked and scored. He has singled and scored. Got a big base hit in yesterday's ball game to drive in 2 runs with the bases loaded. One strike count. And the pitch. Grody takes a curveball low. It's 1-1. Shadows have extended all the way out to the pitching mound now with just a light streak about halfway, a very thin streak of light, about a yard wide. Now at 1-1, the pitch to Grody. Check on the swing. He did not swing. It's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. The pitcher is the leadoff batter for the Reds when they come up in the 5th, so Sparky Anderson's trying to weather the storm with Tomlin rather than take him out, bring in Nelson and have to use another. He could also make a switch in the infield and not have to do that. 2-1 delivery. It is hit out to left center field. Moving over as Pete rolls, he'll get to it, and he makes the catch. And 2 men away. Milner back to set first base. That'll bring up Don Hahn. Don Hahn singled and scored in the second. On a hit-and-run play, he moved Brody down to second base, where he scored later on. Hahn was out. So Hahn has contributed. He's had 3 hits and 8 times up in the series. Tomlin from the set position. The first pitch to Hahn is swung on and grounded foul at strike 1. And on the 1-strike pitch, Hahn takes low. It's into their dugout by Bench. 1 ball and a strike. Baltimore, Oakland rained out today. They were scheduled to play at Oakland after splitting the first 2 games in Baltimore. 1-1 delivery. Hahn lines it to center field. It is a base hit. Milner goes to second base and holds there, and the Mets have runners at first and second with 2 men out, and Bud Harrelson coming up. Now here comes Sparky Anderson out to the mound. That is all for Dave Tomlin. Tomlin worked 1 2/3 innings. Has been charged with 3 runs. He gave up 5 hits, struck out 1, and walked 1. And Roger Nelson will be coming into the game. 4th pitcher used by the Cincinnati Reds. Ross Grimsley started. He worked 1 2/3 innings, was charged with 5 runs, gave up 5 hits, struck out 2, walked 1. Tom Hall worked 1/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit. But it was a 3-run home run to Rusty Staub. 2 of the runs going against Grimsley's record and 1 against Tom Hall. And Tomlin working 1 2/3, being charged with 3 runs on 5 hits. He struck out 1 and walked 1. Roger Nelson was on the disabled list twice this year. He's worked once against the Mets. He went 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, allowed 5 runs. He has a record of 3 wins and 2 losses for the year. This is his 15th appearance. As a starter, he beat the Giants back on April 14th. As a starter, he lost to San Diego on April 18th. As a starter, he beat Montreal on May the 6th. He lost to Houston on May 11th as a starter and picked up his other win in relief against Atlanta back on July 31st. He has no record against the Mets. His Major League record, 25 wins and 28 losses. In 72, he pitched for Kansas City. He had a record there of 11 wins and 6 losses. He lives in Johnny Mission, Kansas. Mets leading by a score of 9-2. 2 men out, bottom of the 4th. They have runners at first and second, and the batter will be Bud Harrelson when play resumes. Crowd here at Shea Stadium, a near capacity crowd. The only other game played in the championship playoff series here at Shea Stadium. It was against Atlanta in 1969, and the Mets drew 53,195. The Reds broke that record when they drew 54,000 yesterday, 54,041 in the 2 games at Cincinnati. A total paid attendance 107,472. The players participate in only the first 3 games of this best 3 out of 5. So with this crowd here today, this will be the highest payoff for the players in championship history. Now Nelson ready to go. Harrelson steps in. Nelson, the right-hand pitcher. He goes to the set position. The first pitch to Harrelson. Hit in the air out to shallow left field. Pete Rose is there. Gets under the ball. He makes the catch and the side retires. In the inning, 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and the runs were earned. 2 men left. The score at the end of 4, it's the Mets 9, the Cincinnati Reds 2. Once again.
Tired of waiting days, weeks, or even months for printing? Now there's one-day quick copy service servicing the Tri-County area. Major Graphics has a 24-hour answering service to ensure prompt service. Major Graphics does just about all types of printing, from memos to booklets. No job is too big or none too small. Remember, Major Graphics for all types of printing. Call 762-4457 or stop in at 35 North Market Street. That's Major Graphics for fine, fast, dependable service.
Sophistication. That's the quality you'll add to your home when you bring a new Sony Color TV into it. Agway on the Johnstown Arterial has many models to choose from. One for every room in your home. And that's not all. Agway has Sony integrated component music systems and radios for your listening pleasure. Don't delay. Stop in soon at Agway on the Johnstown Arterial and start your Sony Home Entertainment Center.
WIDR.
Roger Nelson scheduled to lead off, having a 9-2 ball game. Nelson will be coming up to lead off in the top of the 5th inning. As the hitter of the year, he had 2 hits and 18 times at bat. Roger Nelson. Reds were counting heavily on Roger Nelson before the season opened. They had traded with Kansas City to get him, but he had arm trouble and spent most of the summer on the disabled list. Roger Nelson twice was on the disabled list this summer as the result of a pinched nerve in his right elbow. This counted heavily on Jerry Nolan and Roger Nelson and had to get by without both. They got by very handsomely. The pitch by Jerry Koosman, a fastball, strike 1 call. New York 9 runs, 11 hits, no errors. Cincinnati 2-5-1. We are now in the top of the 5th inning. The pitch by Koosman, a fastball outside, 1-1. Pete Rose on deck, and then Joe Morgan in the top half of the 5th. Game 4 tomorrow afternoon at Shea Stadium. And a strike called, a fastball, 1-2. Don Hahn playing Nelson to hit to the opposite field. He plays him over in right center. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Number 6 for Jerry Koosman. The Mets pitchers are striking out a lot of hitters in this championship series. Seaver had 13, Matlack had 9, Koosman now has 6. in 2.5 games. Pete Rose has lined to center and singled to left field. And it's way inside, ball 1. Earlier in the game, John Milner was flattened by an inside fastball. Now the pitch on the way, high outside, 2 balls and no strikes. The 2-0 delivery. That's over at the letters, a call strike. It is 2-1. Baltimore and Oakland rained out on the West Coast this afternoon. They'll be finishing a day late. And an off-speed pitch low. Just missed to Pete Rose, and the count is 3-1. The World Series scheduled to open Saturday afternoon in the American League City, either Oakland or Baltimore. No problem at the moment. But if they should be rained out again tomorrow, then it would get a little sticky. Not to mention a little wet. 3-1 pitch to Pete Rose, swung on and missed, 3-2. 3-2 delivery. Hit on the ground hard toward the middle. Into center field. A base hit for Pete Rose. Rose with his second hit of the game. A ground single up the middle. And the sixth hit of the game for the Cincinnati Reds. Joe Morgan, the number 2 batter, 1 for 2, single to right, drove a run home in the third inning. Dennis Menke and Joe Morgan have batted in the runs for Cincinnati. Sparky Anderson has already used 4 pitchers in today's game. We are only in the 5th inning. So when you fall behind, you must try and catch up. Breaking ball inside to Joe Morgan. 1 ball and no strikes. Let's have the infield looking for the double play. Morgan, a very tough man to double up. Fastball inside, pushed him away from the plate. And it's 2 balls and no strikes on Morgan. Joe has 1 hit and 10 times at bat in the series. Over the regular season, Morgan hit .290. Set a Cincinnati club record for home runs by a second baseman. Ground ball hit down to first base. Milner has it, throws to Buddy Harrelson. 1 to first. Double play! And a fight breaks out. Pete Rose and Buddy Harrelson. Both clubs still out of the dugout. And a wild fight is going on. Jerry Kuzman's in the middle of the fight. Here come the players from the dugouts on the dead run. Everybody is out there. Buddy Harrelson and Pete Rose got into it. Rose apparently thought that Harrelson had done something in making the double play. Rose is about 10 times the size. And now, Rosie Capra is in a fight. Capra's in a fight. Out in center field, another fight breaks out. And the fists are really flying. Pete Rose went after Buddy Harrelson. Rose outweighs Harrelson about 35 pounds. Buddy made the double play, threw on to first base. And now they're really having trouble holding on to somebody out there. Now Joe Morgan was really into it. Capra and Morbine got into a strong fight. Buddy Harrelson has been cut. Tom McKenna is working with him. The players are still all out there. Rose went after Buddy Harrelson. Unlike Pete Rose. Morbine, being held by his teammates, is trying to get him off the field. Well, Pete Rose went after Buddy Harrelson, or Buddy went after Pete. I don't know which. It was a 3-6-3 double play. Buddy's all right coming off the field with Roy McMillan. Buddy was whacked over the left eye. It looked like he's bleeding above the left eye. We did not actually see the fight break out. We were watching the return throw to first base. Went after Harrelson. Pete Rose definitely went after Bud Harrelson. 3-6-3 double play. Somebody ought to get thrown out of this ballgame. And we'll see how the umpires are going to handle it. Then later a fight broke out between Buzz Capra and Pedro Borbo. Hard to believe that Rose would go after Harrelson. He outweighs him about 40 pounds. But he did. The replay shows it clearly. Harrelson and Yogi Berra at home plate. We'll know in a minute what the umpires are going to do. Debris is being thrown out of the upper deck. We'll have a couple of minutes here before we resume play. So right now...
LCS Homes on the Fonda Johnstown Road has a great selection of 1973 mobile homes left in stock. And with each 73 model that's sold, the buyer will receive double S&H green stamp and a free dishwasher. The supply is limited, so hurry to LCS now and get in on this fantastic offer. 10 to 18-year financing is available. VA approved, and there's no down payment if you qualify. It's all happening at LTS Home on the Thunder Johnstown Road. It's a basic fact in business. Trade follows customer satisfaction. That's why Thompson's Texaco on the Johnstown Arterial is such a hub of activity. Pumping gas, cleaning windshields, checking underhoods, and performing all the important services car owners have coming. If you're not already a regular patron at Thompson's Texaco, Johnstown Arterial, give it a try sometime real soon. They also do minor engine work, exhaust systems, and tire changes. And Thompson's Texaco is your U-Haul representative in Johnstown. Phone Paul Thompson at 762-1821.
We will be held up now here at Shea because the fans have been throwing particles out of the stands in left field. Pete Rose got mad, grabbed a couple of things, and threw them back toward the stands. Pete is really hot. Now Sparky Anderson is walking out toward left field. Cincinnati players had to get out of the way. It's very dangerous. They were throwing some empty bottles out of the stands, which could be terribly dangerous. On the public address system here at Shea, they are asking the fans to cooperate now because it could be dangerous. That was about as wild a melee as I ever saw, Bob, and what happened just now was when some of the bottles were thrown out, Pete Rose picked up at least two and threw them back into the stand, which is a dangerous thing to do also when you've got more than 50,000 people in the stand. Sparky Anderson is now out there in left field talking to senior umpire Ed Rudolph about what they can do. Keep in mind that the commissioner of baseball is here. The commissioner of baseball is here. It is reminiscent of 1934 in Detroit when Commissioner Landis had to order Joe Medwick removed from the ballgame between the Cardinals and the Detroit Tigers before the game could continue. It was a case of a play in third when Medwick had slid in and was in a melee with Marv Horn. When Medwick tried to go to his post in left field, they would not let him. And finally, the commissioner of baseball, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, had to order a player out of the ballgame the only time it ever happened. Well, the commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, is here. He has not stood up throughout this entire affair. He is seated in the front row to the home plate side of the Met dugout. It all came about when the Mets made a 3-6-3 double play. The double play was all over, and suddenly, Pete Rose, who had been forced at second, came back and took both hands and gave Buddy Harrelson a very hard push. Buddy reacted to that. A fight broke out. It appeared from here that Buddy was cut above the left eyebrow, presumably with a punch done by Pete Rose, although that is speculation. But as we had the glasses on Buddy, it did appear he suffered a cut. The ground crew out now cleaning up the debris from left field. Manager Sparky Anderson with the umpires out in left field. Pete Rose completely lost his cool. When the crowd started throwing things on the field, he picked up a couple of articles and threw them right back at the crowd. Meanwhile, the commissioner of baseball is here. So if necessary, a direct opinion could be received from the highest office of baseball. It is 9-2 New York. We have played 4.5 innings. A big crowd standing. Buddy Harrelson, who weighs all of about 155 pounds. Pete Rose, who weighs 195 to 200 pounds, but a much bigger guy. But it was simply a question of not considering weight or size or anything else. Rose apparently thought Harrelson did something wrong. He pushed him. The fight broke out. And later a fight broke out between Bourbon and Buzz Capra. The players from both teams are incensed. Jerry Kuzman is talking with one of the umpires. Kuzman will be leading off when we go to the last of the 5th inning. And as far as we can determine, no one has been ejected from the game. The umpires rarely throw a player out of the game when a fight breaks out. Fights break out very rarely in baseball. You can tell the feeling that this crowd has for Buddy Harrelson. And now the public address system advising the crowd that interfering with the game could lead to a forfeit. So the crowd will have to cooperate in order for the game to be completed. without Betty to resume play. So as near as we could tell on the replay, after Rose slid into second, he jumped up, gave Harrelson a hard push. Betty reacted to that. Now Jerry Koosman will lead off against Roger Nelson in the last half of the fifth inning. Fastball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. There were so many players in the melee around second base, it was impossible to tell who was really after who. Ground ball hit toward the middle. Morgan goes over, backhands the ball, throws to first for the out. So Koosman out on a ground ball, hit toward the middle of the diamond. But Pete Rose, when he went to the outfield and the fans started to throw things, grabbed a couple of articles and threw them back at the stand. One out and nobody on. It brings up Wayne Garrett. Wayne has driven a run in with a sacrifice fly, otherwise it's 0 for 2, and a curve inside and low ball 1. New York ahead 9-2, bottom half of the fifth inning. Pitch by Nelson, curve inside and low, 2 balls and no strikes. On deck, Felix Peon, and then Rusty Staub. Boy, little Buzzy Capra really got in the middle of all that. He and Pedro Borbon were going at it. The 2-0 delivery. Ground ball hammered foul, and while it goes down into the corner, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network. The 2-1 delivery, a fastball at the letters, 2-2 to Wayne Garrett. A fight breaking out in a championship series or a World Series, it rarely ever happens. It happened here today. Foul behind third and up into the crowd. Now Nelson delivers 2-2 to Wayne Garrett, missing high with a fastball. The count extends 3-2. The Mets lead 9-2. They had 1 run in the first on a Rusty Staub home run. 5 in the second. Staub hit another home run, this time with 2 on. And a fly ball hits to left field. Back goes Pete Rose, and he has it for the out. The crowd reacting. Will hear that kind of reaction in all of the remaining games here at Shea Stadium. That's only natural. And the lights now are being turned on here at Shea because of the shadows extending out beyond the mound. Felix Peon, the hitter. Felix has flied to right, single to right, driving a run in, drawn a walk and scored a run. He has scored twice. And the slider is outside, 1 ball and no strike. Foul ball back up on the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roger Nelson, 4th pitcher used by Cincinnati. And a high slider makes the count 2-1 to Felix Peon. For New York, Rusty Staub has driven in 4 of the 9 runs. Just a little bit outside, 3-1. Now play is being held up. Pete Rose is coming in from left field. I believe some things again are being thrown out of the upper deck, and they are. Pete Rose is coming in from the outfield. I do not know. I was not looking out that way. I hope Rose was not hit by anything thrown from the stands. Rose is coming off the field. And Sparky Anderson is adamant with the umpires. It might be that the umpires asked Rose to come out of the ball game. Sparky Anderson is taking his team off the field. Sparky Anderson is taking his team off the field. Now, baseball commissioner Bowie Kuhn is going to have to stand up. Sparky Anderson has just taken his team off the field. Again, things were thrown out of the upper deck in left field. Rose immediately started walking in from the outfield. Sparky Anderson came out and spoke with the umpires. The senior umpire is Ed Sudoff. And Sparky Anderson waved and took his team off the field, saying, "I refuse to play under these conditions." Now, Rose might have been hit. National League President Chubb Feeney is now talking with Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. He is now talking with the umpires. Sparky Anderson has taken his ball club off the field, unless order can be restored. Of course, the game should be forfeited, and the Mets would lose the game they have pretty well in hand. Now listen to the announcement.
That a bottle was thrown and struck one of the players, and that he will tolerate no more interference of this nature. The game will not resume until things are quieted down. Now we ask you to please...
Chubb Feeney, president of the National League, is out at home plate talking with the senior umpire, Ed Sudoff. Sudoff has just decided that play will not resume until things have quieted down, until order has been restored. Now Feeney is talking with Sparky Anderson. And now Yogi Berra and Rusty Staub and Creon Jones and Tom Seaver and Willie Mays are all going out to left field. I believe they are going to appeal to the crowd not to throw anything further. So Yogi Berra, Rusty Staub, Creon Jones, Willie Mays are all walking out to left field and asking the fans to calm down. They are going to try and restore order. It all started when a fight broke out between Pete Rose and Buddy Harrelson. The Mets made a 3-6-3 double play. Rose apparently thought the double play had not been made right. He lost his cool. He pushed Harrelson and a fight broke out. The entire Cincinnati team has left the dugout and gone back into the clubhouse. And Willie Mays has gone to the edge of the warning track in left field and is appealing to the crowd not to throw anything. And the Mets players are walking around and they are doing the cleaning up. The Mets players are picking the articles up off the field that were thrown. We are not sure whether or not Pete Rose was hit. We certainly hope that he was not. He has been such a great player. The fight broke out only because of a competitive nature. And now the Mets players are coming back, and we hope that order can be completely restored. Remember, interfering with the game can lead to a forfeit. And now Chubb Feeney, National League President, calls Sparky Anderson and the umpires together near home plate. We are in the last of the fifth inning. A count of 3-1 on Felix Millan. The crowd must realize now that they cannot throw any more articles onto the field. It now has become quite serious. It is very dangerous. It endangers the players. Tom Seaver, Rusty Staub are coming back. Willie Mays is coming back. Willie walked out to the bullpen and appealed to the crowd not to throw anything further. Sparky Anderson now, I believe, is going to call his team back on the playing field. This will be a headline baseball story for a long time to come. A championship series and a fight breaking out that incensed the huge crowd at Shea Stadium. Buddy Harrelson is a great favorite with the Mets, just as Pete Rose is with the Cincinnati Reds. They are both bright stars in their own right. They are both great competitors. And I'm sure both regret the fact that it did break out. It would be presumptuous to say who started the fight. It appeared that it started when Pete, according to the replay, pushed Buddy Harrelson. after the double play at second base or the fourth play at second. Right now, all the players are just standing around, waiting for the umpires to make a decision. Pete Rose has come back on the field. Umpire Ed Sudoff, who is working the left field line today and is the senior umpire, starts to walk out with him, and the Reds go back on the field. Now it's going to be up to the New York baseball fans not to throw anything more. We are about to resume the ball game. Fortunately, as you always do in a championship series, you have not only your league president, but we have the commissioner of baseball here this afternoon. And Chuck Feeney, to his credit, came right on the field, met with his umpires immediately, and said, let's get this thing under control. So to Chuck Feeney, the president of the National League, a job well done. And we're ready to go again. We resume play with 2 outs and nobody on. And a count of 3 balls and a strike to Felix Leon. Now the crowd settling back into their seats. And the pitch on the way is high, ball 4 to Felix Leon. We were again watching another replay. We were watching the replay on the fight that broke out at second base. Now Rusty Staub, the hitter. Millan has just walked 2 men down. The pitch by Nelson. And a fastball, low ball 1. Rose and Harrelson collided. Here's the pitch on the way. And a slow ball, too. Watching the replay, it appears exactly as we mentioned that after the play was made at second base, the bodies tangled a bit as the play was being made. Then they jumped up, and Rose stepped forward and gave Harrelson a big push. And a call strike, it's 2-1. And of course, then the fight broke out. So it is a wild history-type afternoon here at Shea Stadium. A brawl in a championship series. And the pitch by Nelson, ground ball hit to second base. Joe Morgan knocks it down, picks it up, throws to first side, retires. What a game. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 5, New York 9, Cincinnati 2. Now a word from Chrysler Plymouth.
Bob and Karen Reed at Dairy Queen offer you this Mets baseball special. If you mention WIZR or the #1 New York Mets, they'll be more than happy to give you a super banana split at a regular banana split price. A 20-cent savings from Bob and Karen.
Interviewed and written about when this is all over. Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, and Andy Costco will be hitting in the 6th inning. Perez has struck out and flied to deep center field. New York leading 9-2. It's the top of the 6th inning. So if any of the fans are listening on the transistors, whatever you do, don't throw anything more on the field. Quietest moment we've had in quite a while at the stadium here today. Guzman looking in to get his sign, and the pitch to Tony Paris is hit in the air to shallow right field. Back goes Milner and Leon, and Milner makes the catch. They came side by side, and the hammer took it. Paris out on a pop-up. With one out and nobody on, it brings up Johnny Bench. Bench has struck out. It hit into a force play, nothing for two. Over the head is Jerry Kuzman, and a change-up in the dirt out in front of home plate. 1 ball and no strike. And the pitch on the way, a little bit outside. 2 balls, no strikes to Johnny Bench. That's playing the infield deep and around to left. And a swing and a miss, a fastball by Jerry Kuzman, and the count 2-1. Kuzman mixing speeds, going with his fastball, hard slider, changing up off the fastball and the curve. Andy Costco, the right fielder, is on deck. Against Bench, you play the infield deep and around toward left. Don Hahn, a couple of strides to left center. Pitching 2-1. Swing and a foul tip, no play. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tomorrow, game 4, right here at Shea, 2 o'clock. George Stone will pitch against Fred Norman. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Ball 3, 3-2. Well, you have enough to write about. Just having it a championship game, championship series game. They'll have a lot more to write about today. 3-2 pitch. Change up, hit in the air to center. Don Hahn coming in, makes the catch. 2 outs and nobody on. Andy Costco has flied to left and struck out. Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss and a fastball. Strike 1. Ed Armbruster, the center fielder, is waiting to hit next, and the fastball is low. 1 ball and 1 strike on Costco. Costco has flied to left and struck out, nothing for 2. The Mets have 9 runs on 11 hits. Cincinnati 2 runs on 6 hits. The 1-1 delivery. Change up, pull foul. Out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 delivery. Low and away. It's 2-2. Now Kuzman ready. The 2-2 pitch. Foul ball. It hit the leg of Andy Costco, knocked his legs out from under him. It's very painful. This is the opening of 3 games scheduled here at Shea in this best 3 of 5 series. Goes without saying, the team that wins the second game then has a decided advantage. However, last year the Reds trailed 2 games to 1, and they rallied to win it, beating Pittsburgh. They had then the fact going for them that they were playing at home. The 2-2 delivery. Change up and on the ground to third. Bobbled by Garrett. He grabs it, no play, and Costco is on. Costco becomes a base runner, an error charged on Wayne Garrett. And coming on to hit the center fielder, Ed Armbruster. became the property of the Cincinnati Reds in that big deal made with Houston 2 years ago. Played at Indianapolis this year, batted .307. He's a right-hand hitter. Good running speed. The pitch on the way. Fastball high. 1 ball and no strike. Now Kuzman off the stretch. Delivers to Armbruster, a swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. Crowd appeared to listen to the appeal of Willie Mays, Tom Seaver, Rusty Staub, Yogi Berra when they went out to left field. They have calmed right down. A little bit high. 2 balls and a strike. Waiting on deck, veteran third baseman Dennis Menke. Milner not holding against the runner. The 2-1 pitch, a curve, swung and missed. 2-2. Nine to 2, New York. We're in the top of the 6th inning. And the pitch on the way. Strike 3, a fastball by Kuzman. His 7th strikeout of the game. No runs, no hits. 1 error and 1 left. Now in the middle of the 6th inning. The New York Mets 9 and the Cincinnati Reds 2.
William Pine & Son Plumbing and Heating, 3 Lincoln Street, Gloversville, is well for prompt, efficient, low-cost service. This reputable firm specializes in installation of American Standard boilers, hot water heaters, water pumps, and gas or oil-fired Williams furnaces for homes, farms, and business buildings. You're assured of preferred plumbing and heating service from William Pine & Son, 3 Lincoln Street in Gloversville, licensed in both Gloversville and Johnstown. Polaris Quality Snowmobiles at Dick Weagle's Enterprises, Getman Road, Tribe Hill. Stop in and say hello to Dick today and let him show you all the 1974 Polaris snowmobiles that he has in stock. You won't be sorry. You'll really be glad you did. That's Dick Weagle Enterprises, Getman Road, Tribe Hill. Or call 829-6563 where you get good quality and good service at Dick Weagle Polaris Snowmobiles, Tribe Hill.
WIZR, AM and FM, Johnstown.
Last of the 6th inning is jam-packed Shea, and Cleon Jones will be up against Roger Nelson. Nelson was in only 14 games this year as the result of being bothered by a pinched nerve in his right elbow. He won 3 and lost 2. Cleon Jones has a perfect day at the plate. Cleon has singled, walked, and doubled. So the last half of the 6th inning, 9 to 2 New York, the pitch to Jones. And he takes the fastball high, 1 ball and no strike. John Milner on deck, and then Jerry Grody. Slider taken outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Rusty Staub with back-to-back home runs in the 1st and 2nd inning has driven in 4 of the 9 runs. Garrett, Mian, Kuzman, and Milner have 1 each. And a curve hit slowly on the ground to second base. Snagged by Joe Morgan, thrown on to Tony Perez, 1 down. John Milner coming up. Milner has 1 for 3. Milner singled in a run in the 4th inning. Right-hander Roger Nelson throws a curve hit on the ground hard to Joe Morgan at second. He's up with it. Throws to Tony Perez, 2 men away. Roger Nelson getting Cleon Jones and John Milner, and it will bring up Jerry Grody. Grody drew a walk and later scored in the 2nd. He singled to center and later scored in the 3rd, and he flied to deep left in the 4th inning. 1 for 2 and 2 runs scored. Jerry has 2 hits and 10 times at bat in the series. Fastball, letter high, call strike one. And a slider that is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two outs, nobody on. Last half of the 6th inning. Breaking ball high. 2 balls and a strike. Mets opened up the early lead. They were in front 6-0 at the end of 2 innings. The Reds scored their 2 runs in the 3rd. The Mets since then have added 3 more. High inside to Grody, 3-1. Don Hahn is on deck. Hondo has 2 hits and 3 times at bat. The 3-1 pitch, and it's hit high in the air to center field. Lazy fly ball, well hit though. Under the ball, Armbruster, and he has it to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 6, the Mets 9 and the Reds 2.
This portion of Mets action is brought to you by Glen Gay Builders, Route 30, just north of Collins Corners Road, Amsterdam. Glen Gay is a representative of Ridge Homes. And if you've been looking for a new home and have been worrying about how you can afford it, stop in and see Glenn today. He offers complete financing because they are part of a billion-dollar company, so that they have mortgage money the year round. And there is no long waiting period either. Plus, there is only a low down payment, so stop in and see Glenn Gay, Route 30, Amsterdam today, or call 843-0500.
Make a richly rewarding investment in your motoring pleasure and get a 1974 Dodge from Howell & Pearson Incorporated, Dodge City, 224 West Main Street in Johnstown. They've something to please everyone, whether your taste is stylish, sporty, large, or small. Their selection includes Challenger, Charger, Dart, Polara, or Monica. And when you buy from Howell & Pearson Incorporated, you can be sure of great service after the sale in your new car. That's Howell & Pearson, Dodge City, 224 West Main Street, Johnstown.
WIDR.
The Cincinnati Reds come up now in the top of the 7th inning, and it's Dennis Menke to face Jerry Kuzman. Menke has homered and struck out so far today, 1 for 2. Through the first 6 innings, the Mets 9 runs, 11 hits and 1 error. The Reds 2 runs, 6 hits and 1 error. Kuzman takes the sign from Jerry Grody, goes into the motion. Here's the pitch, and it's inside for a ball. Kuzman has struck out 7, walked none here today. As the New York Mets scored 1 run in the first, 5 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Kuzman again now with the pitch to Dennis Menke. Swung on and missed. It's 1-1. Darrell Cheney, the shortstop, is on deck. Manager Sparky Anderson inserted 2 right-hand batters in his lineup today. At third base, Menke in place of Dan Driesen. It's a swing and a 1-hopper to Harrelson at short. He has it. The long throw in time, and Menke's out. Ball was hit hard, but directly at Harrelson, who took it on 1 hop and got it over the first in time. Darrell Cheney has popped to second and popped to short 0 for 2. Ed Armbruster was inserted in center field in place of Cesar Geronimo to get another right-hand bat in. Here comes Hal King out on deck. Pedro Bourbon is throwing in the bullpen. Here's a pitch low, so apparently King's going to bat for Roger Nelson, and Pedro Bourbon's going to come in to do the pitching. 1 man out, nobody on. Reds batting in the top of the 7th inning. Shea Stadium in New York. As a fastball in for a called strike, it's 1-1. The shadows of the grandstand have now completely encompassed the infield area as well as the home plate area. Here's the 1-1 delivery, and it's swung on it in the air to center. And out in the brilliant sunshine, Hondo Hahn goes back and one-hands the ball for the out. 2 away. Here comes Hal King. He is a left-hand batter. Steve Rose is coming out on deck, and he is being booed as he moves out to the on-deck circle. 4 homers and 10 runs batted in this year. Hit 186. Used as a pinch hitter par excellence. Started the year at Indianapolis. Left-hand batter. Facing a left-hand pitcher here. Kuzman delivers, and it is in there for a called strike. Roger Nelson is out of the game. Now the pitch, and it breaks low and away. Roger Nelson pitched 2 1/3, allowed no runs, no hits, struck out 1 and walked 1. Here's a 1-1 delivery to Hal King. And it's low for a ball, 2-1. Pete Rose is on deck. Rose has had 2 hits today, 2 for 3. Led the National League in batting this season. There's a swing and a ground ball to the right side going through the hole in the right field for a base hit. Picked up by Rusty Staub and played back. Here comes Pete Rose to the plate. And Pete Rose is being roundly booed by the crowd here. Many of the fans are standing and waving handkerchiefs. Sets up, and here's the pitch to Rose. It breaks low for a ball, 1-0. This will be a 1-0 delivery. Fastball in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Pete Rose, for many years, has been the most popular man in the Cincinnati ballpark. He is playing an opposite role right now in the New York ballpark. That pitch just missed outside low, and it's 2-1. The Mets are leading in the game by a score of 9-2 as the Reds bat here in the 7th. Al King leads off the bag at first with 2 men out. Milner plays behind the runner. Here's the 2-1 delivery, and it's swung on, popped up to the right side. Rusty Staub is calling, and Hahn is there, and Hahn makes the catch one-handed to retire the side. Pete Rose popped out to Hahn in short center field. There was a hit. There was 1 left. In the middle of the 7th, the score is the Mets 9 and the Reds 2.
Over the years, Tesoro Chevrolet in Amsterdam has endeavored to give Chevrolet customers the kind of service they want, the facilities they expect, the courtesy and adherence to promises they deserve. They are striving to live up to their reputation they've achieved. Tesoro Chevrolet in Amsterdam invites you to visit them first when you're shopping for a Chevrolet car or truck. Their integrity is your assurance of complete satisfaction. Stop in at Tesoro Chevrolet in Amsterdam and see for yourself.
If your house is getting up in years, its true charm may be hidden behind decorations that have outlived their period. If you'd like to see what's new in home decorating, stop in at Kingsborough Lumber Company, Gregory Street in Gloversville. You'll find so many great new ideas for your home, you won't know where to start. Whether it's a major or a minor job, the staff at Kingsborough Lumber Company will be glad to help you in your decision. That's Kingsborough Lumber Company, Gregory Street, Gloversville.
Pedro Bourbon's in to do the pitching now for the Cincinnati Reds. The right-hander was in 80 games during the regular season, had a record of 11-4. In appearances second only to Mike Marshall of the Montreal Expos. This is his 3rd appearance in as many days. He was the winning pitcher in the first game in relief of Bellingham. He's pitched 1 2/3, given up no runs and 3 hits so far. Struck out 1. Pedro Bourbon, right-hander, in to do the pitching. He'll be facing Don Hahn. In the melee that grew around the initial battle between Pete Rose and Bud Harrelson, both Capra and Pedro Bourbon squared off in pretty good one-on-one situations themselves. Now, Don Hahn is coming up. He's had 2 hits today and 3 times at bat. That's batting the bottom of the 7th. The Mets fans have been up and stretching, of course, midway in the 7th inning, so they are very much alive right now. Corbin's pitch to Hahn is in for a called strike. Bud Harrelson is on deck. I should expect this crowd to give Harrelson something of an ovation when he comes up. And Bourbon goes under the motion, delivers the pitch, swung on, fouled off to the right side, out of play. 2 strike count. President of the National League, Chubb Finney, is now seated in the box to the home plate side of the Mets dugout. Beside Mrs. M. Donald Grant, wife of the board chairman of the Mets, and just to her right is the commissioner of baseball, Boyd Kuhn. Here's a ground ball back to the mound, barehanded by Bourbon, throw to first in time. He was coming off the mound on his follow through to the first base side, so he stabbed the ball barehanded. Here comes Harrelson. Bud Harrelson in some conversation with Johnny Beck. Chris Pellicutis, the umpire, steps in to listen to this conversation between Bench and Harrelson. Harrelson, a switch hitter, batting left. Gone hitless 3 times today, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. 0-1 is the count. Guzman is on deck. 1 man out. Here's a curveball, fouled off and out of play. It's strike 2. Bourbon goes to the rosin bag, tosses it aside. Outfield is shallow all around with Harrelson at the plate, batting left. Fired on delivery, swung on and missed, struck him out. So Bourbon gets the strikeout. Harrelson gets the hand going back to the dugout. Gary Kuzma will be the batter. Kuzma's had 2 hits today, attempting to sacrifice. In the 2nd inning, he laid down a perfect bunt, and when Ross Grimsley lost his balance and slipped down, it was a base hit. Then he singled a drive and a run in the 3rd inning. So Kuzma is 2 for 3. Bourbon with the pitch, and it swung on, popped up. Foul up the 3rd baseline. Bench comes over, and it drops between Bench and Dennis Menke. A mix-up between Bench and Dennis Menke. Each pulled up thinking the other would field it. It fell between them, no play. No error charge. And the count is strike 1 to Jerry Kuzma. Again, Bourbon delivers, and there's a check swing ground ball to second. Joe Morgan comes in, scoops it up, goes to Perez, and the side is out. In order, nothing across. And at the end of 7 full innings of play, the score is the Mets 9 and the Reds 2.
Every day is an exciting day at Dunkin' Donuts, 129 South Main Street in Gloversville. Their shelves are filled with dozens of donut varieties to tantalize your tin-tan-tabulating taste buds. After the game, stop in and select your favorite variety and take them home and treat your family to something great. Once you've tried Dunkin' Donuts, you'll always go back for more. Remember, too, Dunkin' Donuts has the freshest coffee in town. Dunkin' Donuts, 129 South Main Street in Gloversville.
Over the years, Tesoro Chevrolet in Amsterdam has endeavored to give Chevrolet customers the kind of service they want, the facilities they expect, the courtesy and adherence to promises they deserve. They are striving to live up to the reputation they've achieved. Tesoro Chevrolet in Amsterdam invites you to visit them first when you're shopping for a Chevrolet car or truck. Their integrity is your assurance of complete satisfaction. Stop in at Tesoro Chevrolet, 143 East Main Street in Amsterdam, and see for yourself.
WIBR.
Pitch Between innings, Chris Pellicudis, the umpire behind the plate, was called over to the box of League President Chub Feeney, and they were engaged in earnest conversation. Chub Feeney doing all the talking. And Chris Pellicudis to listening. Now Joe Morgan is up. Here's Kuzman's pitch, bunted on, foul, backing out of play. It's strike one. But Joe Morgan, who hit into the 3-6-3 double play in the fifth inning that led to the melee when Rose was forced at second base. Then he and Bud Harrelson came up swinging. Both dugouts emptied, both bullpens emptied. Here's a strike one pitch, and it's low for a ball. Caught the fastball in, and it's 1-1. Brody rolls the ball around a little bit in the dirt there now, thinking he should have got a strike call. I think Pellicudis pulls off to one side, hands on hips now, puts his hand on the shoulder of Jerry Grody. Grody's down on one knee there for a second, and now he is into the crotch. Morgan's still outside the batter's box. Morgan moves back in. Count is 1-1. The Reds are batting in the top of the eighth inning. Kuzman's been in all the way for the New York Mets. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, foul back. It's out of play. Back onto the screen. Count is 1-2.
No communication area of the media.
Here's the 1-2 pitch.
We don't know what can be done beyond
trying. That pitch is high. 2-2 is the count. This will be a 2-2 pitch. In there for a call, strike three. Got him looking, and Morgan marches to the bench. Strikeout number 8 for Jerry Kuzman. Tony Perez is coming up. He has struck out, fly to center, and popped the first 0 for 3 for the day. The Mets are leading in this game by a score of 9-2. This is game number 3 in the championship series. It takes 3 wins to clinch the National League pennant. Starting play today, each team had 1 win. Here's the pitch to Perez. Pops up to the right side in foul territory, drifting toward the seats, out of play into the lower field boxes. So it is strike one. Here's the strike one delivery to the right-hand batter, and it's hit in the air to center field, and it's sending Hahn back to the track. He's near the wall, and Hahn one-hands the ball for the out. At the 396 time, he leans back against the wall and one-hands the long drive off the bat of Tony Perez. Johnny Bench is coming up, struck out, grounded into a forced play line to center 0 for 3. The start of this particular championship series, the high for strikeouts in the National League in a championship series game was 8. I read it was 9, I beg your pardon. So by Steve Blass. There's the pitch high. 1-0. Then Seaver struck out 13, Madlack struck out 9, and now Kuzman has struck out 8 today. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Scheduled game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Oakland A's in the championship series in the American League. Postponed because of rain in Oakland. There's a breaking pitch low, and it's 2-1 now to Johnny Bench. 2 men out, nobody on base. Andy Costco is on deck. This is the 2-1. It's low, and the count goes to 3-1 to Johnny Bench. Bench goes over to pick up a paper airplane that sailed out from one of the upper decks. He crumples it up, puts it in his hip pocket. Doing a little groundskeeping. Here's the 3-1 delivery. Swung on and belted up the alley in left center. Hahn is off and running. He gets over. It's over his head. He lost it. He flipped the glasses and lost the ball, and Bench goes into second with a double. Hahn raced over there, flipped the glasses, and then saw the ball sail over his head. It is a double. I think that when he flipped the glasses, he never picked the ball up again, because it sailed over his head. 2 bases for Bench. Andy Costco is coming up. Slide to left, struck out swinging, was on an error by Garrett Spears when he topped the ground ball down there. The hit was number 8 for the Reds off Kuzman. Pitcher record for the Reds is Ross Grimsley, who started. Kuzman looks in to get a sign from Jerry Grody. Now here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. It was a breaking pitch. The lights are on here, by the way, at Shea Stadium. Buzz Capra is throwing in the Met bullpen. Jim McAndrew had been throwing, and he has just stopped. Capra continues to throw. Costco in and waiting with an 0-1 count as Johnny Bench takes his lead at second base. There are 2 men out. Curveball belted to Garrett at third for the out. A line shot into the glove of third baseman Wayne Garrett, and the side is retired. There was a hit, and there was one left. In the middle of the 8th inning, the score is the Mets 9 and the Reds 2.
A new kind of excitement will fill you when you see the new Colonial Homesteads residential development just west of Johnstown on Route 67. Quality will never be sacrificed. Get the best quality of workmanship at the very lowest prices in the area. All homes are offered exclusively by the Arlene M. Sitterly Real Estate Agency Incorporated. Phone 762-9885 or 762-7919. Choose your dream home today and let them build it for you.
If you like to shop in a friendly neighborhood store, you'll love Walt's Walk-In, 112 East State Street in Johnstown. You always get friendly, courteous service at Walt's. He carries a complete line of grocery needs and delicious cold cuts. He also has cold legal beverages at all times. Walt's Walk-In is open from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. every day of the year. Stop in soon at Walt's Walk-In, 112 East State Street in Johnstown.
Information on the various plans in effect can be obtained by writing or calling the ticket manager at Shea. He'll be happy to arrange an appointment that will enable you to select choice seats that cover all plans, from season ticket subscriptions to night games, holidays, and weekend plans. The telephone number is 672-2000. The address is Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Zip code 11368. Pedro Bourbon will face the top of the Met batting order as they come up in the bottom of the 8th inning. The New York Mets are leading by a score of 9-2. In game number 4 of the championship series here tomorrow, George Stone will go for the Mets against Fred Norman of the Cincinnati Reds. Outfield defense shaded around toward right. Garrett fouls it back, and it's strike one. Garrett had a sacrifice fly to drive in a run in the second inning. He is 0 for 3 officially. Again the pitch, and it's low for a ball. It's 1-1. Bourbon bends forward, gets the sign, goes into the motion, 1-1 pitch, curveball in there for a call, strike 2. Count is 1-2. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Swung on and foul back. Count holds at 1-2 to Wayne Garrett. The Mets have made no concessions as far as lineup is concerned to righties and lefties in this series. There's a breaking pitch low. The only thing that manager Yogi Berra has done is to switch his number 4 and 5 men. If there's a right-hander on the mound, Milner is the number 4 batter and Cleon Jones bats 5. And if there's a left-hander, they do it the other way. There's a swing and a miss. Bourbon with his second strikeout. One away. Mets batting in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Felix Leon is up. He's 1 for 2 and 2 walks, and he scored 2 runs. The Mets have 9 runs, 11 hits. The Reds have 2 runs, 8 hits. Curveball, and it's inside low. Ball 1. The Mets won yesterday 5-0 in Cincinnati. The day before, they lost 2-1 in Cincinnati. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and it's outside, I beg your pardon. It's 2-0. Fastball just off the corner. Finch lobs the ball back at the Bourbon, who is standing there dejectedly, looking in at umpire Chris Pellicudis. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Swung on, and it's popped up down the right field line. Moving over Sasko. He's at the line now, across in foul territory, makes the catch. 2 away. The Mets have used 3 pitches in this championship series, and the Reds have used 12. The hand is for Rusty Staub. He had home runs his first 2 times up to add to the one he had yesterday, giving him 3 in 2 days. Overall, Staub is 2 for 4. Bourbon, a right-hand pitcher, facing left-hand batter Rusty Staub. That pitch is outside. In the top of the 9th, the Reds will be scheduled to send up Ed Armbrister, Dennis Menke, and Darrell Cheney. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and it breaks in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Now the 1-1 off. Hit on the ground to third base. Charged by Menke. He is up and throwing on the grass in time. Side is out in order, nothing across. So at the end of 8 full innings of play, the score is the Mets 9 and the Reds 2.
Kemmer's Delicatessen, 226 East Fulton Street. Open every day except Monday. Is the home of cooked-to-order roast, hams, and of course they have salads too. They cater any occasion. So when the planning begins for your next gathering, call or stop at Kemmer's Delicatessen, 226 East Fulton Street, Gloversville. They also have newspapers, and of course sandwiches are made with the greatest care anywhere at Kemmer's Delicatessen in Gloversville.
If you'd like to cut down on your fuel bill, Holden Lumber Company, 10 Carpenter Street in Gloversville is the place to go. They would like to acquaint you with Zonalite insulation. Zonalite attic insulation is the easiest of all to install. Just pour it, level it, and leave it. Your savings start the minute that the job is done. Zonalite has a heat seal that conserves fuel dollars. Learn how you can save up to 40% on your home heating costs at Holden Lumber Company, 10 Carpenter Street, Gloversville.
WIZR.
Jerry Kuzman faces the Cincinnati Reds now as they come up in the top of the 9th inning. Ed Armbrister will lead it off. He's 1 for 3. Had a single and twice has struck out. Right-hand batter facing left-hand pitcher Jerry Kuzman, who has been in all the way for the New York Mets. And the pitch is high for a ball. Dennis Menke is waiting on deck. Kuzman's delivery is in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Kuzman has struck out 8 and walked none here today. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and missed. Runs it to 1-2. One-two pitch. Swung on and missed. Struck him out. Strikeout number 9 for Jerry Kuzman. Davis struck out 13 day before yesterday. Madlock struck out 9 yesterday. Kuzman has struck out 9 today. One man out, and Dennis Menke's up.
The 9 strikeouts by Kuzman ties his season high. He had 9 against San Diego.
That ties Kuzman's season time strikeouts. He had 9 against San Diego. Here's the pitch outside for a ball. Starts him off with a breaking pitch. It's 1-0. Here's a swing and a high fly ball to center. Shading his eyes is Hahn. Dancing back, makes the catch. 2 away, and the Cincinnati Reds are down to their last out of the ball game. Bill Gagliano is going to bat for Cheney. Gagliano will bat for Cheney. Gagliano hit .290 during the regular season. 7 runs batted in. He is 0 for 1 in the championship series. Madlock struck him out when he appeared as a pinch hitter yesterday. Driesen is out on deck to bat if the game is kept alive. There's a foul ball backing out of play. It's strike 1. 2 men out, nobody on. The Mets are leading by a score of 9-2. And this game number 3 of the championship series for the National League pennant. Game number 4 will be played right here tomorrow. There's a swing and a fly ball out into left center field. Hahn is coming on. He makes the catch. The ball game is over. The New York Mets have defeated the Cincinnati Reds. Congratulations all around for Jerry Kuzman as he starts to the dugout. And so it's nothing across from the ninth inning. We'll be back in a moment with a final summary of total
State's gigantic fall clearance sale. Why pay rent? You can move in a beautiful double and single wide mobile home that you can call your own. At Countryside Mobile Estate, you'll also find excellent views, 12-foot wide mobile homes. You choose the surroundings that you'd like to live in and then have your mobile home moved there. It's that easy and very inexpensive. Don't pay someone else's mortgage payment when you can own your own dream mobile home from Countryside Mobile Estate. Dales Mills. Call Quick Showers at 883-5561 or see Countryside Mobile Homes and walk in and start living. It's a fact that real estate values have doubled in the last 20 years. That's why it's important to review your home or other real estate insurance every 2 or 3 years. Now's a good time to stop in and talk to Bill Baxter at the Fields & Baxter Agency Incorporated. Bill has years of experience and can help you bring your insurance coverage up to date. Remember, for home, car, business, or any other insurance you may need, talk to a pro. Bill Baxter at the Fields & Baxter Agency Incorporated, 14 North Market Street, Johnstown, an independent agent who serves you.
It was an afternoon of explosive excitement here at Shea Stadium in New York as the New York Mets went one game up on the Cincinnati Reds in the championship series, 2-1. It takes 3 victories to clinch the National League pennant, and game number 4 will be played here tomorrow. Game number 5, if necessary, the following day. The New York Mets hopped on starter Ross Grimsley in the first inning when Rusty Staub hit a home run. And then in the second inning, the New York Mets came up with 5 runs. 3 of them on a 3-run homer by Rusty Staub. So the Mets had posted themselves to a 6-run lead. And then Dennis Ninke hit a home run for the Cincinnati Reds. As in all, in the third inning, they got 2 runs on 4 hits and seemed to be coming back into the ballgame. But from there on out, Jerry Kuzman slammed the door. Overall, he struck out 9 and he walked none in posting the second Met victory in this series. The New York Mets added another run in the third. They got yet 2 more in the fourth inning of play. And then came all the excitement of the day in the fifth inning, when, with 1 man out, Chief Rose single. Joe Morgan had hit a ground ball down to Milner at first.
I believe you'll like it because it offers a variety of benefits. I'd like to have you try some Dairy Lean 99. Now, Dairy Lean 99 is a pure milk drink, fortified with protein plus vitamins A and D. And best of all, if you're watching your diet, Dairy Lean is 99% fat-free. It tastes just exactly like milk, and yet it has 20% more protein than regular milk. So it fills you up, not out, and satisfies both hunger and thirst. And one more point. Dairy Lean 99 is available at almost all food stores in the dairy section. Try it, won't you? It's in a great-looking purple carton. Dairy Lean, 99% fat-free milk drink from the good people at Dairy Lean.
To go out into the left field area on appeal to the fans, to stop throwing debris onto the field. They did. Meanwhile, Judge Feeney went over, conferred with the commissioner of baseball, Bowie June, who was seated to the home plate side of the Met dugout. And finally, order was restored, and the game was resumed and completed with the New York Mets winning by a score of 9-2. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Now a message from Chicken Galore.
Shop at the Rockton Y Corner in Amsterdam is home of delicious donuts and coffee. Stop in and see Bob Curtis anytime. They are open 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. The Carousel Donut Shop has your favorites, so stop in today at the new Carousel Donut Shop at the Rockton Y in Amsterdam. The Carousel Donut Shop. They are now serving sandwiches.
How many times have you heard the slogan, drive a little?